the great wave of magical technology. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26, Magic Restoration Potion. You're right. In fact, no one had much hope that Yunfan would tell them his secret. They were just a little disappointed. At this time, Avril also came to Yunfan's side. He took out a bottle of gold and a bottle of blue magic potion from his space ring, and then handed them to Yunfan, and then put on a leader's appearance. I have heard about what happened this time. You did a good job this time. This bottle of mental power recovery potion and a bottle of mental power strengthening potion are your awards. Mental power recovery potion, mental power strengthening potion. Yunfan had read a lot of books in the library on the first floor of the academy, but the books on the first floor were all very basic knowledge. There was little introduction to the more advanced things in this world, and he still knew very little about more advanced things such as alchemy potions. The blue bottle of mental recovery potion can quickly restore your mental power, and this bottle of golden mental enhancement potion can increase the speed of your mental power cultivation. It is a rare treasure for magicians, and this thing cannot be bought with money. Amy looked at the golden mental enhancement potion with envy and explained. Yunfan understood in a second that the blue bottle was the blue medicine he used when playing online games in his previous life, and the golden potion was equivalent to the experience bill. He was very relieved about Princess Avril's character. He didn't even think about it, and directly opened the bottle cap of the blue bottle of mental recovery potion, and took the potion in the bottle. At the moment of taking the potion, Yunfan felt a cool feeling first, and then felt a warm current wandering in his body. Wherever the warm current went, Yunfan had a very comfortable feeling of spring flowers blooming, and he felt that his mental power was recovering rapidly. Not bad. Yunfan couldn't help but groan. Of course it's good, but it's worth more than 10,000 gold coins. Bennett muttered in a low voice. The currency of the Nurgle Empire is gold coins. Generally, more than 20 gold coins are enough for a family's annual expenses. Dante was only sold for dozens of gold coins at that time. The value of various items in the Nurgle Empire is measured in gold coins. 10,000 gold coins are not a small amount for a noble, and only the princess can be so indifferent. It's so valuable, it seems that I have to study it carefully in the future. Yunfan said to himself with some interest. TSK, do you think alchemy is as simple as drinking cold water? If you want to make a potion, you can make a potion. To become an alchemist, you need a very high talent. Bennett despised Yunfan fiercely, because Yunfan's performance was very dazzling, which made these girls look at him differently, so he was very unhappy now, thinking that Yunfan had stolen his glory. How can you know, if you don't try it? Yunfan said calmly without caring about Bennett's attitude. After drinking the magic recovery potion, Yunfan's mental strength recovered quickly. Avril, do we still have to go deeper into the Oraba forest? If we continue forward, we may encounter something. After a period of rest, Amy hesitated and asked Avril. Amy, this is the first mission that the mercenary team formed by the princess has received. How can we give up so easily? Besides, have you forgotten? I still have a secret weapon. Avril pouted and showed a hint of displeasure on her face. This time, I used the magic scroll beyond my level and suffered the backlash of magic. Don't worry, Amy, this is just an accident. I promise that this will never happen next time. Avril said with a slightly red cheek and a little embarrassed. Okay, but you must remember that you must not exhaust your mental strength next time. Finally, Amy nodded. The deeper into the Oraba forest, the weirder the weather became. What Yunfan didn't expect was that he not only recovered his original mental power, but also improved it to a certain extent. According to his estimation, even if his mental power has not broken through to the 10th scale, it has reached the 9th scale. He has simulated and released another basic magic of the first order, the Dark Arrow, in his mind many times. He is now very confident that he can complete the release of this magic in real life. However, although he is confident that he can release the second dark attribute magic, he is not satisfied with this result at all. The Oraba forest is full of crises at all times. If he is not careful, he may be doomed. So he cultivates his mental power as soon as he has time and tries to build the third dark magic base. Only by building the third dark magic base can he use the dark magic shield to gain a certain self-protection ability. But what makes Yunfan very depressed is that when it comes to the critical moment of cultivation, it seems that he is just a little bit short, but he can't build the third dark magic base. In fact, Yunfan doesn't know that the speed of his cultivation is already very fast in the eyes of others. This process of forming a magic base, how to put it, is like rebuilding an ecological balance system. The new magic base and the original magic base are interdependent and mutually repelling, just like the relationship between gravity and repulsion. Yunfan increasingly felt that the magic element in this world had many similarities with the atoms that make up matter. Magic is not just theology. He even felt that understanding magic from a scientific perspective might make the magic in this world clearer and more thorough. It's just the last step left. I don't know when I can complete the construction of the third dark magic base. I didn't expect the construction of the third one to be so much more difficult than the second one. Alas, there are many crises here, Yunfan said to himself. Like attracts like, and opposites repel each other. This sentence suddenly appeared in Yunfan's mind, and then he had a flash of inspiration, as if he had caught something, but he seemed a little unsure. It seems that no one has stipulated that the construction of the magic base needs to be done in one direction. Yunfan did it as soon as he said it. He simulated it in his mind. After dozens of simulation attempts, Yunfan's spirit had begun to become a little depressed. He finally simulated the best construction plan in his mind. Dante, what's wrong with you? Why do you look so bad? Kim was the first to notice that Yunfan's face was not right and asked with concern. This can't be a hidden disease sequely left by the backlash of magic. Amelia, come and have a look. What happened to Dante? Chapter 27, Dragon and Bear Fight. After hearing Kim's cry again, Amelia checked Yunfan carefully, then frowned and said in confusion, strange, really strange. Why is your mental power so severely consumed? This situation does not seem to be the sequel of magic backlash. Don't worry, I'm fine. Yunfan smiled slightly. Amelia looked at Yunfan deeply, and then said nothing. Yunfan used his mental power to control the dark element in his body, to run in the reverse direction. Although he was not very adaptable at the beginning, as the dark element in his body flowed faster and faster, Yunfan slowly adapted. Yunfan naturally didn't know how shocking his behavior of constructing a magic base was. Swallis, what happened to that kid just now? Why did I suddenly feel that the boy's momentum changed and his aura seemed to be getting stronger and stronger? Although Avril and the others did not notice the difference in Yunfan, the change in Yunfan was still discovered by Henry, who was following them far behind. This kid actually broke through? How is this possible? This kid actually built a third dark magic base. Wallace said in disbelief, but I have never heard of anyone who can break through while traveling. What kind of monster is this? Wallace, are you sure you are not mistaken? Henry asked seriously. I'm a great magician. I don't know if this kid has built a third dark base. It seems that this kid has more than one secret. TSK, even you and I have secrets between us. As long as he is loyal to the Empire, why should we care too much? Following along, Henry and Wallace became more and more curious about Yunfan. From time to time, some low-level monsters would run out of the gloomy and terrifying trees. Some were not dangerous, but some were extremely aggressive. As the few people were walking forward cautiously, a giant bear was pacing slowly. Its eyes were red, violent, and manic. It would prick up its ears and listen from time to time. Once an alien entered its territory, it would attack without mercy. If you look closely, you will definitely find that there is also a giant bear in her life. The giant bear was lying on the ground, her belly was bulging, and a human expression appeared on the giant bear's face, which showed that she was in great pain. Giving birth. She was giving birth, and her husband was guarding her side, guarding against danger at any time. These two giant bears are also quite famous in the Warcraft. They are called the Dullings of the Earth and the Messengers of the Goddess of Nature, the 5th level Earth Bears. Although these two earth bears are only 5th level, once the two of them fight together, ordinary 6th level warcraft are not opponents, so the two of them are also regarded as the overlords within 100 miles around. Usually, there are no other warcraft to provoke them. It's just that the female earth bear is about to give birth, and when it gives birth, it is the weakest. Next to their territory is a 6th level sky star flying dragon, a sub-dragon monster, which is also the overlord of the ore of the forest. He has always been at odds with the two earth bears, and they would fight from time to compete for the ownership of the territory. This time, he was eyeing the opportunity of the earth bear giving birth, and he wanted to hit the two earth bears hard in one fell swoop, to establish his dominance in the ore of the forest. The battle was about to start at any time. The male earth bear glared at the sky star flying dragon fiercely. As long as he dared to take another step forward, he would be ready to fight to the death. The sky star flying dragon looked at the earth bear in front of him with contempt, and then looked up to the sky and roared, as if to say, "Boy, you are the only one now, and you can't be my opponent." The male earth bear looked at the female earth bear behind him with affection, and then howled to the sky. The sound seemed to warn the other party, "Don't act rashly, otherwise, I will die with you." Xiangxing Filong's contempt in his eyes became heavier. He didn't care about this threat at all. If the female earth bear didn't give birth, he would still be afraid, but now he has no scruples. Xiangxing Filong howled again, and the sound seemed to say, "Submit to me, I will spare your lives." Did you hear any sound? Yunfan suddenly stopped, and turned to say to several people, "Dante, don't be suspicious, where is the sound?" Since Bennett was robbed of the limelight by Yunfan, he has become more and more dissatisfied with Yunfan, and always speaks hard to Yunfan from time to time. "Bennett, we are all in the same team. Don't always target Dante." Elvis couldn't stand Bennett's behavior. "Bennett, if you do this again, leave my team. I don't need guys like you in my team." Avril was also a little angry and shouted loudly, "My Highness, it's my fault. I won't do this again next time. Just give me a chance." Hearing Avril's words, Bennett's face changed slightly. He tried every means to join Avril's team, just to find a backer for himself, so that he could rise in his family. He didn't expect that he would shoot himself in the foot. "Well, I'll give you another chance." "Everyone wait a moment." Kim suddenly interrupted Avril's words, and lay on the ground to listen. "Kim, what's wrong?" Elvis asked when he saw that Kim looked a little strange. "We can't go any further. There are powerful monsters ahead. Judging from our current strength, we should have no chance of winning," Kim said seriously. "That's impossible. How come we didn't find anything?" Avril said in disbelief. "I can tell you with certainty, Princess, it's very dangerous ahead. If I heard correctly, there are at least 2 level 5 or higher monsters ahead." "Level 5 or higher? Are you sure there are 2 level 5 or higher monsters ahead? It's bad. We can't leave now." Kim didn't answer the two people's questions. He stood up with a gloomy face. Boom. A loud noise that shook the earth sounded not too far away. Almost everyone looked in the direction of the sound. They saw a flying monster fighting with a bear-like monster not far away. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Evacuation. "That's the 6th level sky star flying dragon and the 5th level earth bear," Elvis said in horror. "It's over. It's over. It seems that we are really in danger this time. The 4th level Wind Shadow Wolf King almost wiped out our entire army." Bennett's face turned pale, as if he had eaten arsenic. Henry and Wallace, who were hiding in the dark not far away, also looked very ugly. Although they were both 5th level beings, they still had some gaps compared to the same level of magic beasts, not to mention facing the higher level sky star flying dragon. Henry said in a deep voice, "It seems that we have to take action this time, otherwise, these little guys will be in real trouble. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave." Yunfan glanced at everyone, and then said unhappily. After hearing Yunfan's words, everyone hurriedly retreated carefully to the back. Perhaps because they were too nervous. Before they walked too far, Avril accidentally stepped on a rotten tree. Crack. With a sound, the Earth Bear and Sky Star Flying Dragon, who were fighting each other, all noticed the presence of several people. The two monsters temporarily stopped attacking each other, and both glanced at Avril's mercenary team with a vigilant look. When they saw the strength of the few people, the two monsters no longer paid attention to them. The strength of these few people was too weak in the eyes of the two monsters. Although several people were ignored by the two monsters, they were very unhappy, but they were relieved. Let's go. Let's leave here quickly. Although these two monsters ignore us now, it doesn't mean that they won't regard us as their next target after they decide the winner. Yunfan took a deep breath and said. After hearing Yunfan's words, several people didn't think about anything and quickly evacuated in the direction they came from. Henry and Wallace watched Avril and the others leave safely, and they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Although they were not afraid of the two monsters, they had no time to care about Avril and the others when they really had to fight. What's going on with these two monsters? Henry and Wallace were a little confused at the moment. In their understanding, the domain awareness of king level monsters was very strong. Any intruders would generally fight to the death. The two monsters in front of them actually let Avril and the others leave, which was obviously illogical. No, although these two monsters are king level monsters, their ranks are different. Generally speaking, a monster of the first rank would not choose to fight a monster of the higher rank head on. What's going on? Unless this Earth Bear has some reason not to retreat. Henry and Wallace did not follow Avril and the others directly, but hid and peeked. Henry, look over there. Wallace pointed to the location of the female Earth Bear and said, it's incredible that there is still an Earth Bear there. You know, there are not many Earth Bears on this continent. Henry muttered. I mean, did you notice that it was a female Earth Bear and she seemed to be about to give birth to cubs? Wallace continued. So that's how it is. The Earth Bear that is fighting should be a male Earth Bear. He should want to protect his wife and children. No wonder this guy is fighting so hard. Henry nodded thoughtfully. It's a pity. Although the 6th level and the 5th level are only one level apart, there is a world of difference. It is impossible for the male Earth Bear to defeat the Sky Star Flying Dragon. What do you think we should do now? What else can we do? Do you want to help these two Earth Bears? You know that this world is originally a world of the jungle. Let's see the situation first. Wallace, you kid don't really have this plan. This is not in line with your character at all. You kid has never gotten up early without profit. Henry has heard his thoughts from Wallace's words and looked at him in disbelief. Everyone only knows Wallace's current status in the court magic group and knows that he is glorious, but not many people know his past. He was born in a very ordinary aristocratic family. Wallace's father was just a small imperial baron. When he was a child, the war between the Nurgle Empire and the Fatal Empire continued. Once, the army of the Fatal Empire attacked the territory of Wallace's father. Wallace's parents died in front of him to protect his life. Since then, Wallace's personality has become very withdrawn. He joined the Imperial Magician Corps in the hope that one day he could lead the Imperial army to conquer the Fatal Empire and comfort his parents' spirits in heaven. When he saw the male Earth Bear, he thought of his parents and his sad childhood. Henry, I want to help this male Earth Bear. Please help me. Wallace suddenly said solemnly. Henry looked at Wallace deeply. Although I don't know why you made this decision, I will help you. Thank you. Several people have run out dozens of miles away at this moment. Seeing that the two monsters did not catch up, several people stopped. What do you think happened between the two monsters? Bennett suddenly asked. Now we are still in the mood to think so much. Think about what we should do next. Elvis rolled his eyes at Bennett. Don't you think this is an opportunity? Both of the monsters are very powerful. If they both lose because of the battle, you really care about money and not your life. Those two monsters are king level monsters and their own ranks are also 5 or 6. Killing us is just like killing a pig beast. A first level monster is similar to a pig raised at home. Elvis said with a fake smile. Elvis, what you said is wrong. A strong man must fight through difficulties and seek wealth and honor in danger. Bennett argued. There is another saying, that is, it is important to know oneself. How many moves do you think we can take on those two monsters? I'm afraid that we will be wiped out by the opponent's magic. Bennett, what you said makes sense. Avril suddenly interrupted. Your Highness, do you think what I said makes sense? Bennett was greatly encouraged when he heard Avril's words. Chapter 29, The Hungry Wolf Squad. Yes, I think what you said makes sense. How about this? You go back and take a look at the situation first. If it is really as you expected, it is not too late for us to choose to go back. Avril's mouth slightly raised. Princess, I was wrong. Isn't it okay? You must not let me go back. Bennett's face turned pale after hearing Avril's words. At this time, a voice suddenly came from behind everyone, and Avril and the others' expressions changed. Brother, I didn't expect to meet such a beautiful girl in this place. It seems that we are really lucky. Several people instantly cast their eyes in the direction of the voice and saw a group of mercenaries dressed up from not far away, surrounding them. Each of these mercenaries was fierce and ferocious, and they were not good people at first glance. What do you want to do? Avril bravely questioned loudly. This is no longer the outskirts of the Orebold forest. What do you think we are doing here? The leading middle-aged mercenary with a deep mountain scar on his face looked at everyone and said in a cold tone, I didn't expect that you little brats would come here. It seems that you are lucky and didn't encounter any powerful monsters. Now hand over all the valuables you have on you, and we can spare your lives and let you go back safely. Otherwise, boss, what are you doing? A guy next to the mercenary leader said in some confusion. Why should we let them go? These little brats are not very strong. I can deal with them easily by myself. As long as I deal with them, everything they have will belong to us. Shut up. The leading mercenary leader glared at the guy who spoke fiercely and then turned his gaze to Yunfan and the others. What do you think? Have you thought it through? Hand over all the valuables on you, and we, the Hungry Wolf mercenary team, can let you go. You bastards. Do you know who I am? How dare you rob me here? Aren't you afraid that I will let my father destroy your Hungry Wolf mercenary team? As the most beloved daughter of the King of the Empire, Avril had never been threatened by others. At this moment, she was furious. Father? The leading mercenary leader muttered Avril's title for her father, and his face changed instantly. Could it be that your father is the Emperor of the Nigel Empire, and you are the Emperor's youngest daughter, Princess Avril? Yes, I'm the Princess Avril you are talking about. Now you know you are afraid, right? I will definitely let my father destroy your mercenary team. When Yunfan and others heard Princess Avril say these words, their faces suddenly changed, and they secretly said in their hearts, oh no. You must know that the strength of the other team is much stronger than that of their team. Avril's words undoubtedly gave the other party a reason to kill and silence them. In that case, dear Princess Avril, for our lives, we can only bear the pain and leave you in the Orebold forest. The leading mercenary leader said with a very ferocious expression on his face. Go. Yunfan shouted loudly, and then pulled Princess Avril back. All brothers, pay attention. No matter how much it costs, you must kill them all. Once one of them escapes, not only will our Hungry Wolf mercenary team die, but even your family will die. The leading mercenary leader gritted his teeth and said, although these mercenaries put their heads on their belts every day, none of them wanted to die. For their lives, they no longer cared about so much. One by one, just like the name of their mercenary team, Hungry Wolf, they chased Yunfan and his team frantically. The level of this Hungry Wolf mercenary team is much higher than that of Yunfan and his team, and the number and strength of the members in the team are also quite good. It's not a solution to go on like this. We must find a way to get rid of them. Bennett said gloomily as he retreated. It's not easy to get rid of these bastards. Although I don't want to admit it, these guys are indeed stronger than us. Elvis bared his teeth. Damn it, how could things develop to this point? Kim said disappointedly. There are powerful mercenaries blocking the road in front, and there are two unmatched monsters behind. It seems that we are really finished this time. Amelia has become a little frustrated. Maybe this is not our dead end. If we encounter one alone, we can't resist it. If we encounter two, this may not be a bad opportunity for us. Killing someone with a borrowed knife. No, it should be said that the monsters of the world killed him. Yunfan used his brain to quickly analyze the pros and cons. Among the many deadly situations, He finally found a ray of hope. Although that ray of hope seemed very slim, he couldn't think of any other good way now. Your idea is too incredible. You don't want to use the power of the two monsters to deal with the mercenary team in front of you. Bennett said in a lost voice. Do you have any other good ideas? If so, I'm all ears. Yunfan said calmly. Princess Avril, you tell me whether we should gamble or not. If we gamble, we still have a glimmer of hope. If we don't gamble, we will exhaust our strength and be solved by them. If we win the bet, maybe we can get unexpected benefits. Avril was a little absent-minded, and then she forced herself to calm down. Just do what Dan said. Several people looked at each other and then ran towards the direction of the two monsters. Why did these little guys suddenly change direction? Are they brewing some conspiracy? The leading mercenary leader said to himself while leading people to chase. Captain, don't worry. In the face of absolute strength, these little guys can't make a big wave. I hope so. I always have an uneasy feeling in my heart, as if something is going to happen. The leading mercenary leader said in bewilderment. When did you become like a woman and trust your feelings? This is not your style. Humph, you are right. In the face of absolute strength, any conspiracy and trick can't make a big wave. Although the leading mercenary leader was unsure, he still forced himself to be calm. Chapter 30, Killing with Beasts. The mercenaries of the evil wolf mercenary team fought more and more fiercely, while the mercenary team that Yunfan belonged to was fighting more and more strenuously, and they were even more or less injured. Brothers, work harder and get rid of them. I will treat you to a drink after we get out of the forest. The Dao Ki slash and low-level magic flew towards the direction where Yunfan and his team were. Just when the members of the Hungry Wolf mercenary team thought that the collective attack would be effective, the roar of the monster suddenly came from not far away. A wind blade with flying sand and rocks suddenly flew over. The members of Yunfan's team seemed to have anticipated this situation a long time ago and had been alert for a long time. They dodged the moment the wind blade flew over. But the Hungry Wolf mercenary team was not so lucky. They did not expect that a sudden disaster would come. The wind blade with flying sand and rocks caused a devastating blow to them. Several members of the Hungry Wolf mercenary team were directly torn in half by the wind blade. The members of the Wolf mercenary team who were chasing Yunfan and others happily just now were like eating flies, and they almost all collapsed at once. Damn it, how could there be King level monsters here? And who are those two masters? The shadow of death shrouded everyone's heart at the same time. They looked at the two monsters and two humans fighting in the distance in disbelief. It turned out to be Uncle Henry and Uncle Wallace. How could they suddenly appear here? Avril still didn't know whether these two people were people sent by her father to secretly protect her. Your Highness, didn't you leave? Why did you suddenly come back? Henry said with a pale face. We left, but we were robbed and killed by the Hungry Wolf mercenary team on the way. Avril's eyes were a little red, and she answered very aggrievedly. What? Someone is so bold that he dared to besiege the Princess of the Empire. Henry's sharp eyes were already looking at the Hungry Wolf mercenary team. Retreat. The leader of the Hungry Wolf mercenary team. The leader of the Hungry Wolf mercenary team had just finished speaking, and before the other mercenaries could act, the Xianxing flying dragon, which was originally in a rage, directly blew a breath at the members of the Hungry Wolf mercenary team. In an instant, the Hungry Wolf mercenary team suffered heavy losses. The leader of the Hungry Wolf mercenary team was so angry that his face turned green. The team of more than 10 people originally had only a few big cats and small cats, including him. His mercenary team had never suffered such a heavy loss since its establishment. The remaining few people in the Hungry Wolf mercenary team looked at Yunfan and others fiercely, and then fled in a hurry. Damn it, Princess, you are very dangerous here now. Looking at the Xianxing flying dragon who was still in a rage, Henry's face was terribly gloomy, and he almost said in an ordering tone, get out of here quickly. Seeing Henry and the others talking to Avril, the Xianxing flying dragon had already regarded Avril and the others as enemies at this moment. It was naturally impossible for it to let them leave easily in its rage. The Sky Star flying dragon was very fast. It came to the crowd in a blink of an eye and rushed towards them. The omnipresent wind element, I summon you in the name of the contractor, the guardian of wind. Wallace hurriedly chanted the spell of the 5th level magic Wind Guardian to protect Avril and the others. The powerful Wind Guardian temporarily blocked the attack of the Sky Star Flying Dragon, but the Sky Star Flying Dragon was a 6th level creature with great power after all. Under the impact of his powerful power, the Guardian of the Sky was shaky. Avril and the others turned pale. They really felt the power of the Sky Star Flying Dragon this time. They felt like an ant. We can't just sit here and wait for death now. Let's fight. Yunfan took a deep breath. Brother Dante's right. Kim showed a firm look in his eyes and stepped in front of several people. As a warrior, I will guard your front line. It seems that we have no choice. Bennett and Elvis looked at each other and then stood beside Kim. Dark flame, raw, water element that coexists with the gods. In my name, I ask you to obey me, become my warriors, elemental giants, and crush all those who stand in my way. Dark arrow. Avril and Amy both use their most powerful magic, but Yunfan did not dare to use the fusion magic, but use the dark arrow, because he did not master the fusion magic at all, and he did not want to be killed by his own magic. The dark flame burned on the back of the Xianxing flying dragon, and the Xianxing flying dragon could be seen screaming in pain. Roar, roar. Just when everyone thought that Avril's magic would work, the Xianxing flying dragon suddenly let out a shocking roar. Then he saw his wings shaking rapidly, and the swinging of the wings brought a strong airflow, and the flying sand and rocks were raised at the same time. The strong airflow and the wind protection fought in the air. They could clearly hear the harsh sound that seemed to tear the air apart, and the sound made them feel that their eardrums were pierced. They are too strong. They are not even on the same level. Bennett was hit several meters away by the powerful shockwave. He climbed up from the ground with blood all over his body. Kim and Elvis were in a slightly better situation than Bennett. Although they were not seriously injured, they were also exhausted. Henry, what are you waiting for? My Wind Guardian will disappear soon. Wallace said in a deep voice. Fighting skills, aeration. Henry's expression became serious, and the fighting spirit in his body was running rapidly. He took a step forward, like a meteor, and suddenly came to the front of the Xianxing flying dragon. The long sword in his hand emitted a dazzling red light and flew directly towards the Xianxing flying dragon. At this time, the Xianxing flying dragon seemed to feel the power of Henry's sword. It immediately gave up attacking Avril and others and grabbed Henry with its claws. Damn it, I'm finally saved. Next time, I will never put myself in danger no matter what. I'm the only son of the Chancellor of the Exchequer. There is a great life waiting for me. Bennett gritted his teeth and muttered. I didn't expect this dragon to be so powerful. If I could catch it, I would use it as my mount. Avril said, looking at the Xianxing dragon fighting with Henry with shining eyes. Your Highness, don't even think about it. I have never heard of anyone taming an adult monster above level 5. Kim said. Chapter 31. Since there are no adult dragons to tame, I will ask my master to help me catch a young dragon. Avril said. That's a good idea. Dragon Knights are actually pretty cool. Wallace also took the opportunity to complete his 5th level wind dragon magic. In an instant, a 5th level earth bear, a 5th level warrior, and a 5th level elemental wind dragon made of wind elements surrounded a 6th level sky star dragon. The aftermath of the battle was earth shattering, and almost everyone couldn't open their eyes. As a sub-dragon monster, the sky star dragon was born with a unique aura. All species that fought against it would be affected by this aura and could not exert their due strength. Damn it, this is just a subspecies flying dragon. Why is the dragon's might so strong? Henry's face was gloomy and terrible. Wallace, with our strength, it's easy to escape, but it's almost impossible to defeat the flying dragon in front of us. Otherwise, let's give up. Arsehole. How can you give up? After hearing Henry's words, Wallace's eyes were red, like a wounded little beast. Wallace, you are not rational at all now. Damn it, why is this happening? Why am I so weak? For so many years, I have been working hard to practice magic. Wallace muttered to himself. Wallace, although I don't know what happened in your past, we have to look forward, don't we? If this goes on, not only you and I will die, but even the princess and the others will not be spared. Okay, I know. Wallace took a deep breath. After a while, you take Her Royal Highness the princess and the others away. Wallace, Where does your paranoia come from? At this moment, the female earth bear seemed to have understood what was going to happen and let out a wail. After hearing the cry of the female earth bear, the male earth bear's eyes flashed with a trace of sadness, and then the trace of sadness flashed away. The momentum of the male earth bear suddenly changed, and the earth element in the void quickly gathered towards it at a speed visible to the naked eye. What's going on? Yunfan murmured to himself. No. Wallace seemed to have thought of something and wanted to stop it, but the male earth bear seemed to have made up his mind. The sky became more gloomy, and countless earth element gathered, making everyone present feel thrilling. Even the low-level monsters within a radius of dozens of miles were trembling. So scary. Avril couldn't help but say. At this time, the female earth bear in the distance let out a mournful cry again, as if she wanted to stop her husband from doing it recklessly. The male earth bear's body quickly grew larger, and it didn't stop until its body expanded to twice its original size. The expanded earth bear quickly ran towards the Sky Star Dragon, and the Sky Star Dragon seemed to understand the danger of the earth bear in front of it, and even wanted to flap its wings and leave. Seeing this situation, Wallace knew that, if he didn't do something, the Sky Star Dragon might really escape, and the male earth bear's practice of breaking his magic core would lose its meaning. So he controlled the wind element dragon to block the Sky Star Dragon's way while chanting wind magic spells, mobilizing wind magic element to weave a large net in the air. The Sky Star Dragon howled wildly, trying to break free from the net on him. Although the wind net was only a 4th level magic, it could still stop the Sky Star Dragon for a while. Before the Sky Star Dragon broke free from the wind net, the male earth bear had already come under him. The male earth bear suddenly opened his mouth, and a golden light spurted out of his mouth. This is the 7th level magic released by the earth bear to improve his strength, the elemental cannon. The powerful earth element instantly hit the Sky Star Dragon. Before it could resist, the Sky Star Dragon's body was directly penetrated. At the moment when the Sky Star Dragon landed, the male earth bear also collapsed to the ground. After seeing all this, the female earth bear roared again in grief, with endless sorrow in her eyes. She never thought that her husband would have such an ending. She wanted to crawl towards her husband, but she had no strength at this moment. At this moment, a young life crawled out of his mother's belly, his eyes tightly closed, struggling to stand up. This young life did not know that his father had died just now. Amelia, help me see how this female earth bear is doing. Wallace looked at the fainted female earth bear and said anxiously. Amelia cast a healing spell on the female earth bear. It's no good. All the organs in its body have begun to fail. I'm afraid it won't live long. Alas, how could this happen? Hearing Amelia's words, Wallace's eyes were a little dazed. The female earth bear slowly opened her eyes again. She looked at the cub in front of her with love, her eyes full of endless tenderness and reluctance. It now knows that its time is running out. It wants to see its child more before dying. Avril and the other 3 girls are already in tears. At this moment, the female earth bear suddenly called out to Yunfan twice. What is this? Yunfan was a little confused and at a loss. It wants you to go over to it, Avril explained. Yunfan hesitated for a moment, but still walked over. The female earth bear nodded to Yunfan, and then pointed at the cub in her arms with her bare paw. You want me to help you raise your child? Yunfan seemed to have thought of something and asked incredulously. You know, such a situation of entrusting an orphan to a human being is very rare in wild monsters. Many times they would rather die than hand over their children to humans. Yunfan's situation is actually very special. The earth bear is called the messenger of the god of life for a reason. They are very close to nature and have a keen sense of natural life force. At this moment, he has sensed the faint natural life force on Yunfan. Although Yunfan's current strength is not strong, it feels that his child will have a bright future with Yunfan. Chapter 32, Warcraft Heritage. Yunfan looked at everyone and didn't know what to do for a moment. He actually wanted to have this earth bear very much. If he had an earth bear, his future path as a magician would become very smooth. As an ordinary member of the mercenary team, this young earth bear would not fall on him, no matter how he looked at it. What do you think we should do? Since the mother of this child has handed this child to you, you should raise him well in the future, Avril said. Since Her Royal Highness has said so, let's do it this way. Although Bennett was full of jealousy, the princess had already spoken, so what could he do? Yunfan turned his eyes to Henry and Wallace, because if these two masters did not agree, he would not be able to get this young Earth Bear. Boy, this Earth Bear is in your care. If you treat him badly, I will never let you go, Wallace threatened. Yunfan came to the female Earth Bear and held the young Earth Bear in his arms. Seeing that Yunfan agreed to his request, it first showed an expression of being overwhelmed and then became firm. A yellow light flew out from its body and directly enveloped Yunfan and the cub of the Earth Bear. This is the light of inheritance. Wallace stared at the scene in front of him. A yellow magic core flew out from the head of the female Earth Bear and landed directly on the forehead of the Earth Bear cub. The magic core instantly sank into the head of the Earth Bear cub. When all this was done, the female Earth Bear lost its luster in her eyes. For many powerful warcraft, once they are doomed to die, they will choose to leave everything to their next generation, so that the next generation can grow better. This process is called inheritance by magicians. I believe this little guy will grow up soon. Henry looked at Yunfan deeply. From the matter of the warcraft entrusting an orphan, he felt that Yunfan was even more extraordinary. Uncle Henry and Uncle Wallace, you still haven't told me how you two suddenly appeared here? Avril looked at Henry and Wallace and asked. Of course we were sent by His Majesty to protect you. To be honest, you are so bold, you dare to take any mission. Even the two of us dare not easily set foot in the awe of the forest. Henry said to Avril unhappily. But the level of our mercenary team is too low, and we can only do some of the lowest level F-level missions. We don't want to do those missions of delivering letters and looking for cats and dogs. You know, I'm the princess. Avril said a little arrogantly. My princess, it's because His Majesty loves you too much that you have developed such a carefree personality. You should have had enough fun this time. Come back with us now. Henry said with a straight face. But I really want to go out for adventure. You know, this time we are going to look for the treasure of the Zhou Empire. If I can find the treasure, it will not be as difficult for my father to manage the empire as it is now. That being said, but with just you little guys, let alone exploring the treasure, I'm afraid you won't even know how you died in the end. Wallace gently stroked the magic wand in his hand and said seriously, besides, I think there is something wrong with this mission. How could someone make the treasure map public? But, Avril shook Henry's arm like a spoiled child. Uncle Henry, even if I beg you, let me continue to adventure, or you can follow us. I believe that with the strength of the two uncles and my space escape scroll, there will be no accidents. You little girl, you have been sweet-mouthed since you were a child. Henry rubbed Avril's little head lovingly. Let's do as you say, but you must listen to us. Henry, I think your decision is hasty. Ensuring the safety of Her Royal Highness the Princess is our top priority, Wallace said in a deep voice. Uncle Wallace, please promise me. I promise that I will obey you in the future. Avril pouted. Okay then. Wallace finally compromised. After a short rest, the mercenary team Yunfan was in set off again. This time, with the addition of Henry and Wallace, the strength of the mercenary team has changed dramatically. It is much easier to deal with those medium and higher level monsters than before. In 3 days, they encountered many exploration mercenary teams. Because of the incident with the Hungry Wolf mercenary team, their vigilance has increased a lot. Why are these annoying guys so bad? They all want to kill people and steal treasures. Amelia said angrily. The fittest survive, the unfit are eliminated. Amelia, you must get used to the law of the jungle as soon as possible. There are no so-called rules here, and the laws of the empire cannot apply here. Only strength is the only reliance. Reality is so cruel. Henry took a breath and explained. So the first rule of adventure survival is not to have the intention to harm others, but to be on guard against others. The human heart is actually the most unpredictable thing. Yunfan listened to the two seniors teaching the skills of adventure, and gently stroked the head of the Earth Bear cub with his hand. At this time, Yunfan suddenly felt the eyelids of the Earth Bear in his arms move, so he slowed down. Dante, what's wrong with you? Amy noticed Yunfan's actions and asked. I think the little bear will open his eyes soon. Really? After hearing Yunfan's words, several girls happily surrounded him one by one. This furry little guy is so adorable. This little guy is definitely a killer weapon to attract girls. Why didn't the Earth Bear entrust it to me? Several male students looked at Yunfan and the Earth Bear cub in his arms with envy, and their tone was full of sourness. "Look, this little guy really opened his eyes," Avril exclaimed loudly. Because of her identity, although Avril usually pretended to be a little adult, she was only a 13 or 14-year-old girl after all. The Earth Bear cub opened its eyes carefully and looked around curiously. Its silly look made several girls love it. Chapter 33, Broken Relics. The little guy licked Yunfan's face affectionately, and now he regarded Yunfan as his closest person. "Calm down, let me hug you, little bear," Avril said in a commanding tone. Little Bear was the name Avril gave to the little guy. Yunfan might as well agree at first, but after all, his arm could not twist his thigh. In the end, Yunfan compromised under Avril's threat. The little guy hugged Yunfan's arm tightly and looked at Avril, who stretched out her hand warily. "Your Highness, this little guy doesn't seem to like you," Yunfan said with a hint of teasing in his tone. "You ungrateful little thing, I have been feeding you food these days." The little bear seemed to understand what Avril said, hesitated for a moment, and stretched out his two little bear paws. "Avril, let me hug you too, let me hug you too." Several girls started to fight for the little guy. Seeing that the male students were envious and jealous, they all wanted to become the little guy. "I didn't expect that this little guy has only been born for 3 days and has the strength of the first level. If he can grow up, it shouldn't be a problem to surpass his parents," Wallace said with a smile. It is worth mentioning that during these 3 days, Yunfan took a break and drank the mental strength enhancement potion he got from Princess Avril. His mental strength has been greatly improved and has reached 30 scales, entering the threshold of a primary magician. Although he has successfully constructed the 4th magic base, he has not yet learned to control the 2nd level magic, so he is not yet a formal primary magician. Avril took out the half-replicated treasure map from her space ring and began to think carefully. Then he pointed to an area on the map and said, "Uncle Henry, Uncle Wallace, look at this place and see if it is the location on the map. It does look very similar, but this place is too easy to find." Wallace looked at the map carefully and then expressed his opinion. "No one knows where the edge of the ore of the forest is and how big it is. I think it's just luck that we can find this place." Henry shook his head and said, "I hope nothing will happen." Wallace nodded undeniably. "Uncle Wallace, how could anything happen with a powerful wizard like you?" Avril flattered. "You little girl, remember what you promised me. If you encounter any danger, you must run away as soon as possible." Wallace put his hand on Avril's head and rubbed it. Wallace and Avril's father, when they were young, they formed a mercenary team together and established a deep friendship with each other. Although Wallace and his men were nominally ministers of Avril's father, they were actually as close as brothers. Avril was watched by them growing up like their own daughter. "Don't worry, Uncle Wallace." Although Avril said so, she didn't seem to take it to heart at all. In fact, before Yunfan and others came here, when the ore of the forest had not yet been set as a forbidden area, various noble families had already explored the ruins in front of them, but unfortunately there was no great discovery, and few people came to explore afterwards. It seems that many people have been here. This should be the city of Kilden, built by the Zur Empire in the ore of the forest, Henry said slowly, looking at the ruined city that had become a ruin in front of him. "If that's the case, this map may really be true, but I don't know if this so-called artifact still exists." Wallace responded. "Wallace, now is not the time to think about these things. Look over there." Henry suddenly pointed in a direction and said, "I didn't expect that those old guys were also alarmed. I'm afraid that the treasure of the Zur Empire is probably true." Wallace looked in the direction Henry pointed and actually found many acquaintances from his adventures. Although most of these people's strengths were not as good as his, they were a force that should not be underestimated when added together. "Hey, aren't these Wallace and Henry from the famous Hell mercenary team? You two have already joined the Imperial Army, so why are you here today? Does the Empire have any thoughts about the so-called treasure of the Zur Empire? But why didn't your brothers come this time? Instead, this group of little ghosts came. You won't be their nanny, will you?" At this moment, a discordant voice with a mocking tone suddenly sounded. "Willie, you don't have to worry about what we want to do, but I want to remind you that Princess Avril's father is the current emperor." Wallace responded in a cold tone. Don't worry, an old guy, don't bother to take action against these young people. Will's eyes flashed with a trace of fear, and then he pretended to be relaxed. I hope so. This is a piece of land similar to the remains of European civilization in the 17th century on Earth, covering hundreds of miles in radius. Because of its age, many places are now covered by dense forests, leaving only some dilapidated walls. From time to time, the roars of monsters could be heard from the ruins. The low-level monsters had disappeared. The monsters left in the ancient city were at least level 2. The ruins of the city from the Zul Empire vaguely told the glory of the empire in those days. Seeing the broken high wild buildings and the scattered bones, everyone couldn't help but feel a sense of desolation. If one day, the Nurgle Empire was destroyed like the Zul Empire, and disappeared in the long river of history, would the city of the empire end up like this ruin, with only corpses and broken walls left? With the change of time and the alternation of the sun and the moon, one era will definitely be replaced by another. It is unknown how many years the Kuska continent has existed. It is said that before the era of magic civilization, the Dark Age was raging with monsters, destroying all human empires, leaving only a few survivors fighting against the monsters, and even many human civilizations have been annihilated in that catastrophe. When the gods came to the world, humans got the seeds of power and gradually became stronger. The fall of the once glorious past made everyone feel depressed, and Yunfan once again understood the cruelty of this world. Chapter 34, Emergency. Night had already fallen, and the awe of the forest exuded an even more endless and mysterious atmosphere at night. Rows of unknown tall trees rose into the sky, like giant demons rampaging. If there was a wind magician with profound magic power, flying high in the sky, and looking down from mid-air, all of this would seem insignificant, just a small area. This was an extremely unusual night, destined to be difficult to calm down. Hundreds of adventure teams had gathered, and each of them was determined to win this trip to the ruins. In the desolate awe of the forest, there were still some places in the dilapidated buildings that flashed a cold metallic luster, dotted with black stars. Uncle Henry, Uncle Wallace, what should we do now? Although Avril was the captain of the mercenary team, she had never really taken risks. In this situation, she had to ask the old bird for advice. The temptation of the treasure of the Zul Empire is too great, attracting so many masters. To be honest, the strength of our team is not that strong. Although these people dare not provoke us openly, because of our special identity, once their interests are touched, they will definitely do whatever it takes, so the best way for us now is to wait. Henry said without hesitation. Henry is right. No matter what, we can't be the first to do it, otherwise, we are likely to be blocked by all other mercenaries. Wallace also nodded. But what if they find all the treasures? Avril hesitated and said, little girl, you can rest assured about this. If the treasure of the Zul Empire can be found so easily, would they wait until today? Although everyone now has this half of the map, think about it, if it is so easy to find, why doesn't the owner of the map find it himself? Henry said wisely. Uncle Henry, you mean that the real owner of this map wants the mercenaries in the Mercenary Association to act as cannon fodder? It is indeed very likely, but the real intention of the owner of the map may not be like this. But in any case, this mercenary mission is definitely a conspiracy. Henry took a deep breath and said, the temptation of an empire's treasure is too great. Even if many people know that this is a conspiracy, they still jump in involuntarily. Yunfan nodded in agreement. In fact, Yunfan had doubts from the beginning. As a former scientist who wanted to explore the truth of all things, he wanted to see what this conspiracy was. It must be said that he now has a gambler's heart. Okay, my stomach has been hungry for a long time. Let's not talk about this now. Henry said while taking out some prepared food from his space ring and eating it. Yunfan looked at the space ring in Henry's hand, and then looked at the large and small bags on his back. He secretly said in his heart, it is indeed very convenient to have a space ring. It seems that I must find a way to get one, otherwise it will be very inconvenient to go out for adventure. What are you doing here, little guy? I don't know when. She Wallace has walked to Yunfan's side. Senior She Wallace, I want to ask, where can I buy a space ring, and how much does it cost to buy a space ring? Yunfan asked calmly. So you are thinking about this question? She Wallace nodded, then took out a ring from his space ring and threw it to Yunfan. Yunfan took the ring in his hand in a panic. Then, he heard She Wallace say, "This thing is only 1 square meter. It is not worth much money. It is my gift to you." "But, there is no but. I gave it to you. Just accept it." She Wallace waved his hand indifferently and walked towards Henry's direction. "Senior, how should this thing be used? Use your mental power to perceive, and you will know how to use it." Yunfan quickly learned how to use the space ring, and he threw all the burdens on his back into it. Early the next morning, many mercenary adventurer teams seemed to have discussed it. They decided to act together. The things belonged to the adventure team that got them. "See, that lonely mountain is our destination." A middle-aged mercenary in his 30s pointed to a lonely mountain in the distance and compared it with the map. "There doesn't seem to be any powerful monsters here. I believe we will reach our destination soon." Another middle-aged mercenary in his 30s beside her responded. "As an old bird, haven't you heard of the legend of the Oraba forest? Don't be careless. Captain, legends are just legends after all. We haven't experienced it ourselves. Maybe people who have experienced it before are exaggerating." But before the mercenary finished speaking, a red blood hole suddenly appeared on his forehead, and then the mercenary collapsed to the ground and died. "What happened?" The captain of the mercenaries was closest to him and asked nervously. "Just now, it seems that something attacked him." The other middle-aged mercenary who was just speaking answered with a trembling voice and looked around nervously. "Damn it, I also know that something attacked him. What I asked is whether you saw what it was." The face of the captain of the mercenary team also turned very pale. "I seemed to see a very small shadow just now. I thought I was dazzled. Now it seems that it was the little thing that did it." But before this mercenary finished speaking, a blood hole appeared on his forehead like the previous middle-aged mercenary. The shadow of death instantly enveloped everyone's heart, especially when they didn't know what was causing the trouble. At this time, the cub of the earth bear, who was originally lying quietly in Yunfan's arms, suddenly became manic, and his 2 fleshy bear paws gestured something in the air. For no reason, Yunfan felt a tremor in his heart, and suddenly an earth element magic shield appeared in front of Yunfan. Then, everyone heard the sound of something hitting the earth element magic shield. "What the hell is this?" Kim shouted loudly, and then the golden fighting spirit flame instantly enveloped his whole body, as if he was wearing a golden battle suit. He was very imposing, just like a god. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Shadow Scorpion. At this moment, a feeling of fear spread in everyone's heart. Everyone held their weapons tightly in their hands, fearing that danger would befall them. What's going on? At this time, everyone felt a chill, and their hearts were filled with fear. A living life suddenly left them. Just now, there were people talking and laughing with him, but now they are forever separated by life and death. It was so sudden and strange. For a while, fighting spirit fluctuated, and magic fluctuations rose and fell. "Don't get close to the dead." Henry stopped the unravel who wanted to approach. "That thing may still be on the body." He remembered the dry bones he saw on the way here, the same way of death, and he had a bad premonition in his heart. "Damn it, what is going on? What a ghost thing." Amy's voice was trembling at this moment, and her heart was full of panic. No one hesitated. At the moment of life and death, they could no longer care about many things, and one by one they showed their own methods. Although he was a mercenary who had his head pinned to his belt, he was not afraid of life or death. However, when he saw the dead man's face full of fear and the blood hole on his forehead, he couldn't help but feel scared. Blood was flowing, and he died with his eyes wide open. He must have seen something extremely terrifying before he died. Did the people next to the dead man see what it was? Asked several mercenary team leaders. They wanted to find out the source of the danger, but he didn't want to put himself in danger. At this moment, another mercenary fell to the ground, and his death was exactly the same as those others. Damn it, another one died. Although I didn't see anything, I felt a terrible breath enveloping my whole body, and then he died. At this moment, a mercenary said with lingering fear, "Shadow arrow." Yunfan waved the magic wand in his hand, and a dark elemental arrow flew out from his hand. God, what did I see? Almost everyone was stunned for a moment, because there was a black scorpion lying under Yunfan's shadow arrow. That's the shadow scorpion. A mercenary not far from Yunfan was stunned for a moment, and his body couldn't help but tremble. The fear spread, and he said, "It's over, it's over. How could it be this thing? Although it is only a second level magic beast, it comes and goes without a trace, and even the 4th level strongmen dare not despise it. I don't want to stay here anymore. I want to go back." Some mercenaries have been confused at this moment. They have planned to leave here and no longer take risks. Suddenly there was a scream, and the mercenaries who just wanted to leave fell to the ground with a thump and never moved again. Dang. Suddenly, a collision sounded. I saw Avel's body staggering back a few steps, and an extremely bright white light rushed from her. His whole body was shrouded in brilliant white light, as if he was wearing a thick layer of armor, extremely dazzling, like a burning divine fire. That's holy light armor. One of the sacred artifacts of the Nigel Empire. It has amazing defensive power. Even a saint level strongman can't easily kill the owner of the holy light armor. After so many years, I didn't expect to see this treasure here. That guy really loves his daughter. A guy wearing a black cloak and covering his face with a black cloth said in a gloomy tone. The shadow scorpion saw that his attack seemed to have no effect, so he stopped and disappeared again in an instant. After losing the threat, the white light gradually faded, and the burning white flame on Avril disappeared. At this moment, many mercenaries looked at Avril with a trace of greed in their eyes. They wanted to get the holy light armor, not only because of its reputation, but also because owning it increased their hope of survival. "Let's go, let's get out of here." Henry held a long sword, and a little fighting spirit was scattered around his body. He took the lead, and retreated to the way he came. Avril and others followed closely, but many people hesitated. There must be something good in this ancient city. If they were asked to leave, they would not be willing to do so. However, this place was full of endless dangers. Every second they stayed would be more dangerous. They were now extremely confused and struggling in their hearts. Greed is the source of evil. Just as these people were hesitant, screams came again. A mercenary who was not ready to leave fell to the ground with his head up. There was a bloody hole in the center of his forehead, and blood was flowing out. It was still the same way of death. Maybe the mercenary felt that he was too wronged, and he still died with his eyes open. Fear finally defeated greed. At this moment, many adventurers and mercenaries were terrified. Another mercenary died suddenly, and that person died beside them. It is easy to say that you can see through life and death. But if you experience it personally, and it happens beside them, no matter how indifferent they are to life and death, they will be afraid involuntarily. Many mercenaries have almost collapsed. Where have they seen such a scene before? Run. Except for a few brave warriors, who were still standing there, those with lower strength all wished they had an extra leg, and fled in the direction they came from. Many mercenaries had already run far away before they had the courage to look back, but more mercenaries had lost the courage to look back. The broken walls and ruins were like prehistoric beasts, and they were ferocious in the night, which made people panic. "Senior, is this thing so scary? Even strong men, like you, are afraid of it?" Yunfan asked with a pale face. "All shadow attribute monsters are actually very difficult to deal with. I'm not sure that I can guarantee your safety." Yunfan nodded and recalled the situation just now. If it weren't for the little bear's help, I'm afraid that he would have died unclearly like those guys. Now recalling the mercenaries who fell heavily to the ground one after another, the wounds were all on the forehead, and the same blood holes were shocking. Thinking about the blood-stained ground, how they were alive and kicking just a few minutes ago, but now they died tragically and would never have any contact with this world again, Yunfan couldn't help but shudder. In just a short moment, several people had already lost their lives, which made everyone's scalp tingle. Maybe they would be the next one, and no one could be sure if they were the unlucky one. However, there were also a few solitary masters who didn't care about the shadow scorpion at all, and they were now deep in the ruins. Chapter 36 Accident. Is there really no other way to face the shadow scorpion? Many mercenaries have already shouted, "Woo woo." Several girls who have just become mercenaries almost collapsed and burst into tears, saying, "It is too much mental energy to keep supporting the magic shield. If we continue like this, we will soon be exhausted because of our mental energy and unable to support the magic shield, and that damn shadow scorpion is nearby. Sooner or later, we will die. This is a fact. The dead people, except for those who were not prepared at the beginning, have lost their mental energy. Help us." Several mercenaries whose mental energy has been exhausted are all terrified, and they beg other members of the mercenary team to save them in an almost pleading tone. However, at this critical moment of life and death, who would consume too much of their strength for someone they are not too familiar with? Some members of the same mercenary team did not stop, and even did not look back, and strode towards the way back. Friendship is precious, but when faced with a life and death decision, many people choose to save themselves. The relationship between people is full of contradictions. When facing life and death, people who used to speak in a dignified manner can no longer maintain their original demeanor. "Save me," the nearly collapsed female mercenary cried as she ran. This was her first time leaving the academy. She had the same idea as other mercenaries, thinking that she was lucky and that she could get good results in this adventure. At this moment, she had collapsed a little, her face was covered with tears, and she was panic-stricken. She was now very confused, and fear had occupied her heart. Yunfan shouted loudly, "Shadow scorpion should be a scorpion anyway. Yes, scorpions should retain the nature of scorpions, afraid of water, fire, lightning. You can look around to see if there is anything that can be ignited. Try to use the flame to disperse it." Kim and Yunfan have a very close relationship. Hearing this, standing beside him, he also shouted loudly, "Yes, Dante is right. Now everyone has no good way. Why not try his method? Maybe there will be unexpected results, or not. Is this possible?" Many people did not hold any hope for what Yunfan said. "How do you know if it doesn't work, if you don't try it?" Yunfan took the lead and picked up a dead tree not far from him. Many people looked over, with hesitation on their faces, but soon the mercenaries who were almost exhausted tried their best and followed Yunfan to do the same thing. Whether it works or not depends on the will of the gods. In the previous life, there was an old saying in China, "Practice is the only criterion for testing truth." This sentence is also applicable in the alien world where magic and swords coexist. The dead wood in his hand has been burning, and Yunfan's originally nervous mood has calmed down a little, but he dare not take it lightly. He put the little bear on his shoulder, and when his mental power was highly concentrated, his other hand tightly grasped the magic wand. Maybe your method is really useful, or not. Henry knew when he picked up a dead wood and lit it. It seems that many times we have forgotten the most basic common sense. Wallace sighed softly. As soon as these words came out, many people had confidence in Yunfan. As Yunfan expected, the shadow scorpion is a kind of scorpion after all. Some physiological habits have not changed. They did not attack people holding torches. This made many mercenaries breathe a sigh of relief, and everyone looked at Yunfan with gratitude. "Dante, I didn't expect your method to be really useful. This time I'm more and more sure that recruiting you into my mercenary team is a very correct decision," Avril said to Yunfan with appreciation. Now many noble children have backed out because they have a very good family background. Even if they don't work hard, they will not live too badly in the future. "Avril, I think it's better for you not to go deeper. Now we are just outside the ancient city. God knows what kind of dangers there are ahead," Henry said solemnly. "Uncle Henry, how can you do this? We clearly agreed at the beginning." Avril pouted and said unwillingly, "The ancient city is full of dangers. Although you are wearing the armor of light, it can't guarantee your safety." Wallace nodded in agreement. "Uncle Henry, Uncle Wallace, I will not go back no matter what." Avril looked at the two people and said firmly, "You little girl, why are you so stubborn? Any one of you who wants to quit can quit." Avril suddenly turned around and looked at Amy and others and said. Amy and others were also full of contradictions. On the one hand, they were full of curiosity about the ruins of the ancient city, and on the other hand, the ruins of the ancient city were full of dangers. "Since we have chosen to go out for the adventure, if we retreat when we encounter some danger, how can we become a true master?" Everyone fell into silence, and Elvis spoke first after a long time. What Elvis said is right. What about you, Dante? After spending a few days together, Avril has been full of trust in Yunfan, so she decided to ask Yunfan's opinion. I think we should see the situation now, Yunfan suggested. In that case, let's go ahead and take a look. If there is really any danger, we can just run away immediately. Avril nodded and made a decision. I don't know why Her Royal Highness likes adventure so much. Bennett couldn't help but whispered in a low voice when he saw Avril's back. Let's go, Bennett. Here we go. Avril set off again with her mercenary team. At this time, Kim and Elvis, both of them held their weapons and carefully opened the way. Just as several people were moving forward carefully, Amy and Yunfan suddenly shouted at the same time, and everyone's eyes almost simultaneously turned to the direction of the sound. It turned out that when Yunfan and Amy were walking forward, the soil under their feet suddenly loosened, and they fell in. Several people hurriedly walked towards the direction where the sound came from. When they got there, they found that there was a hole with a diameter of half a meter on the ground. Amy's voice came from the hole. Amy, Dante, how are you? Avril and others shouted towards the hole. We are fine, but we don't know what happened. We fell down by accident. Amy and Yunfan shouted towards the hole. Chapter 37. Amy's past. Amy, Dante, wait for a moment down there. We'll come and rescue you right away, Avril said, looking at Wallace with a pleading look. Wallace nodded. In fact, he had already regarded Amy and Yunfan as his successors, and naturally didn't want them to encounter any accidents. Don't worry, I'll take care of the two of them, Wallace said, casting a flying spell on himself. At this moment, Yunfan and Amy suddenly felt their feet shaking violently. Before Wallace came down, the big hole where Yunfan and Amy were collapsed directly, and the two of them were trapped directly underground. It's bad. The entrance to the cave has been completely sealed, and Anne should be dead now. Henry looked at the collapsed entrance of the cave, and his face became very ugly. I think the possibility of Dante and Amy dying is very small. You know, he is carrying a little bear, Wallace retorted. Yes, I forgot about that little guy. That's the Earth Bear, the darling of the Earth. Even if it's just a cub, it shouldn't be a problem to save its owner's life. Henry slapped his forehead and suddenly realized. Looking at the sealed cave entrance, Yunfan couldn't help but sigh. Yunfan took out the lighting tool from the space ring. Under the light, he found that the entire underground space was surprisingly wide. At this time, Yunfan noticed that the little girl Amy seemed to have no sound after the cave entrance collapsed. With the help of the light, Yunfan finally found Amy not far from him. She was not as lucky as Yunfan. When the cave entrance collapsed, she was knocked unconscious by a stone. Yunfan hurriedly walked in the direction of Amy and checked Amy's situation. He found that the other party had not suffered any other injuries, except being knocked unconscious, so he couldn't help but breathe a long sigh of relief. Amy, wake up quickly. You never know what kind of situation you will face soon. Now is not the time to sleep. Yunfan gently pushed Amy. Soon, Amy woke up from her coma. At the same time, a tingling sensation spread throughout her body. She felt as if half of her body was falling apart. Where are we? Why is it so dark here? Perhaps because of the impact on her head, she fell into a brief amnesia for a while. Have you forgotten? We both fell into the cave at the same time just now, and then the cave collapsed, and now we are trapped here. After Yunfan's reminder, Amy quickly remembered the whole story. She looked at the darkness around her and couldn't help but get scared. Her body began to tremble violently. She hugged Yunfan and said in a trembling voice, it's so dark. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's okay. I'm here. We will be able to get out soon. Yunfan patted Amy's back and comforted her softly. You are a junior magician. How can you be afraid of the dark? Yes, I'm a magician. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm a magician. I'm not afraid of the dark. Amy muttered softly, using psychological suggestion to tell herself that she is a magician and is not afraid of the dark. The psychological suggestion method worked to some extent, and Amy's mood stabilized a little, but she still looked very scared. Amy, listen, we are trapped down there, so you must cheer up now. We must hurry up and find a way out. I can't guarantee how long the oxygen here can support us. Yunfan took a deep breath and said to Amy seriously, oxygen? What is that? This? Yunfan was stunned by Amy's question. In this world, where theology is rampant, science doesn't seem to exist. You can think of it as an elemental substance. Only with this thing can people survive. Elemental substance? Why? I've never heard of it before. Okay, let's talk about this later. Our most urgent task now is to find a way to escape. Yunfan hurriedly changed the subject. After Yunfan said this, Amy's mood, which had just calmed down, became nervous again. Amy, why are you so nervous again? Didn't I tell you? I will definitely take you up safely. Yunfan looked at Amy helplessly and said, I don't want to be like this either, but I'm just scared. Amy responded with a low cry. Have you ever been trapped in a confined space like this before? Yunfan suddenly thought of something and asked. Amy's body trembled again, as if she had thought of something terrible. So that's how it is. It seems that incident really had a big impact on you. Yunfan nodded thoughtfully, and he understood why Amy had such a strong reaction. After falling from above, Amy sobbed softly and said slowly, my parents are both mercenaries. When I was very young, the mercenary team they were in once received an escort mission. Because the employer deliberately concealed the truth, they did not think that this mission was dangerous at first, so they took me to carry out the mission. When the team passed through the Manai Mountains, their mercenary team was attacked by the Moonlight Wolf Pack. Amy's body began to tremble violently. Almost all mercenaries and employers died under the siege of the wolves, and I was thrown into a very deep cave by my father, and I was lucky enough to save my life. That deep cave was cold, gloomy and terrifying. It felt exactly the same as here. I stayed in that cave for 3 days and 3 nights. Until my current adoptive parents found me and rescued me. Yunfan wiped the tears from Amy's face with his hand. So that's how it is. Amy, I didn't expect you to have such a tragic past, but you must be strong now and cheer up. In his previous life, he was not the kind of person who was good at speaking, but he still tried his best to organize his words to enlighten Amy. Amy hugged Yunfan and cried on his shoulder. Yunfan spent his previous life doing scientific research and encountered such a situation. For a moment, he froze there, not knowing what to do. It was unknown how long it took, but Amy seemed to be tired of crying and slowly calmed down again. Amy let go of Yunfan a little embarrassedly. How about telling the secret in your heart? Yunfan asked, slightly moving his numb arm. Chapter 38 Finding a Way Out. I do feel better. Amy's cheeks flushed slightly, and she said softly, I have never told anyone about this before. I never thought that I would tell you under this circumstance. Dante, I hope you can help me keep this secret. I don't want anyone else to know. Yunfan nodded gently. Don't worry, I'm not a big mouth. I won't tell anyone. Thank you, Dante. You are a good person. Amy, don't tell me that. After listening to your story, I have become a good person. Yunfan said half jokingly, but I don't like the nice guy card. In our hometown, anyone who is given a nice guy card must be a loser. Nice guy card? Loser? What are you talking about? Ahem, nothing. Yunfan smiled awkwardly and didn't explain. He quickly changed the subject and said, it seems that, after telling the secret in your heart, you are no longer so afraid of the darkness. Dante, it seems that what you said is right. It doesn't seem that this place is as scary as it was at the beginning. After falling into the cave, Amy felt very insecure because of what happened in her childhood. But when she told Yunfan everything about her childhood, she subconsciously regarded him as a friend, and Yunfan's figure appeared in her heart. As friends, they naturally trust each other and can rely on each other, so she will not feel as scared as at the beginning. It seems that you have almost walked out of the shadows. In this case, let's find a way out as soon as possible. Yes, I don't know how long it has been now. Avril and the others should be very anxious now. How is it? Can I get up now? Yunfan asked. Amy also slightly moved her numb body and then stood up with the help of a stone beside her. Perhaps because she had been lying for too long, Amy just stood up and her feet slipped and she screamed. Her body trembled. Fortunately, Ji Yunfan reacted quickly and held Amy's arm, otherwise Amy would have fallen. Thank you. Amy's face flushed slightly, and she thanked him a little embarrassedly. Looking at Amy's pretty red face, Ji Yunfan was a little shy. This was the first time he got so close to a girl. It's nothing, but now your legs are inconvenient. Let me help you walk. Thank you very much, Dante. Ji Yunfan patted the little bear's head on his shoulder and then helped Amy to explore the underground space. Ji Yunfan and Amy carefully looked at the situation in the cave. They felt that this seemed to be a laboratory, but later it was abandoned for some unknown reason. Now there is a pile of rocks at one end, blocking the road, and the other few extend outward, but they turn a corner not far away, but they can't see the specific situation inside. Little bear, do you think we can still get out? Ji Yunfan said to the little bear lying on him, while helping Amy find a way out. The little bear seemed to understand, and whined twice, as if to comfort Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan carefully observed the landform, and came to the conclusion that the entire underground cave was artificially carved. Although he didn't know what the purpose of this underground cave was, he speculated that there should be a passage leading to the outside world. After walking through the entire underground cave, the two did not find a way out. It seems that we really can't escape this time. Amy sighed and said faintly, we have only known each other for a few days. I didn't expect that I would die with you in the end. It seems that the gods really like to joke. Did I guess wrong? There is no passage leading to the outside world here. Ji Yunfan said to himself with some uncertainty. It's actually good to die with you. Since my biological father and mother died, I've often been awakened by nightmares. Now it's okay. Can I go to the gods to see them? Dante? Can you promise me one thing? What? After a while, if you want to leave first, kill me. I don't have the courage to commit suicide, and I don't want to face death alone. Amy, don't talk nonsense here. I promised to get you out, and I will definitely rescue you. How can you rescue me? The entire underground space has been walked through by us, and there is no way out at all. Just when Ji Yunfan didn't know what to say, the little bear that had been quietly staying on his shoulder suddenly became a little agitated and began to tear her clothes. Little bear, what's wrong with you? Ji Yunfan asked. After all, the little bear is only a first level magic beast now, and it can't speak. It can only wave its bare paws in the air and stammer to express its meaning. Are you saying that you found a way out? Ji Yunfan asked tentatively. Little bear nodded, looking very happy. Little guy, I didn't expect that you can be useful besides eating. Ji Yunfan said to little bear happily. Little bear was still very excited, but after hearing what Ji Yunfan said, he suddenly became listless like a frostbitten eggplant. Okay, little guy, I'm just teasing you. Little bear is the best, okay. Ji Yunfan patted little bear's head. Little bear, lead the way. Little bear jumped off Ji Yunfan's shoulder, shaking his fat body in a naive manner, and walked forward with the two people. Finally, little bear brought them to a place they had just passed. Seeing that little bear stopped, Ji Yunfan and the other person also stopped. Little bear, is this the exit you pointed to? It doesn't seem to be any different here. Ji Yunfan and Amy carefully looked around and did not find the so-called way out. Little bear nodded first, then shook his head. Little bear's behavior confused Ji Yunfan and the others. Stop, little guy, what do you mean? Ji Yunfan said. You mean here, but there's nothing here. Wait, there seems to be something wrong with this place. Ji Yunfan suddenly found something and walked towards the stone wall. He saw a lot of bulges on the stone wall. Those were bulges, and they seemed to be connected. Dante, did you find anything? I think there's something wrong with the bulges here. Chapter 39, Oath. After hearing what Ji Yunfan said, Amy also looked at the bulges carefully. These are just ordinary bulges. Maybe they appear because of aging. They should be meaningless. Is that really the case? But look at the reaction of the little bear. Ji Yunfan paused for a moment and then said seriously, the intuition of the monsters is much more sensitive than that of humans. I don't think it can bring us here for no reason. There must be something wrong here. But what exactly can be the problem? Amy still questioned with some disbelief. Ji Yunfan gently closed his eyes and outlined all the bulges in his mind. Ji Yunfan suddenly had an idea and said to himself, the locations of these protrusions seem to be the trajectories of something. Trajectory. Could it be the trajectory of the magic base? I understand. It turns out to be like this. Ji Yunfan suddenly opened his eyes. A triumphant smile appeared on his face, turned his head, and said to Amy, maybe, I have found a way out. You said you just closed your eyes for a while and found a way out. Amy was obviously a little bit unconvinced. Ji Yunfan did not reply, but walked directly towards the stone wall. He suddenly stretched out his hand and pressed down on a protrusion not far away. What Amy did not expect was that the protrusion was actually pressed down by Ji Yunfan. Then Ji Yunfan took his hand back, moved 2 steps to the left, stretched out his hand again, and pressed on another protrusion in front of him. After successfully pressing down the protrusion again, Ji Yunfan could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. While thinking about which bump he should press next, Ji Yunfan explained to Amy, it seems that the situation here is the same as I expected. As long as I find the simulated trajectory of the magic base, maybe I can open the passage out. Dante, are you kidding? I took a quick look, and there are no less than 70 bumps here. Only 64 magic bases are needed to construct the 8th level magic. The magic that uses more than 70 magic bases is also very difficult in the 8th level magic. You can actually predict its trajectory. Is it possible? I don't know if I have this ability now, because I don't know whether the trajectory of these 79 magic bases is consistent with what I speculated. Ji Yunfan spoke in a very calm tone, as if he was explaining a trivial matter. Amy didn't know what words to use to describe her feelings at this moment. In the Magic Academy, she was also a genius student, but now compared with Ji Yunfan, she felt that she was a mediocre person. She really felt the true meaning of the saying that people are pissed off when compared to others. At this moment, Ji Yunfan put all his thoughts into deducing the trajectory of the magic base and did not notice Amy's expression at all. Time passed by minute, and Ji Yunfan's deduction speed became slower and slower, but now he has found the correct trajectory of the first 49 magic bases. He thought that, as long as he was given enough time, he would be able to deduce all the trajectories in the end. There is an old Chinese saying that different paths lead to the same destination, and a stone from another mountain can be used to polish jade. According to the deduction of the trajectory of the magic base, Ji Yunfan's magic level is improving rapidly. He has deduced the base structure of the second order magic. Although he does not know the magic spell of the second order magic, he thinks that it will not take long for him to release the second order magic without relying on the magic spell. Generally, only magicians who have mastered the essence of magic can silently cast the first and second order magic. If Ji Yunfan can now master the silent second order magic, it is definitely a very remarkable thing. The magician is famous for his powerful attack power. His biggest disadvantage is that it takes a long time to prepare for magic release. Therefore, when fighting alone, magicians below the level of wizards have no advantage over warriors of the same level. On the contrary, once they are approached, the outcome is generally a loss. Of course, this is only in general. As a magician who doesn't hold a few scrolls, of course, the warriors are not fools and will stand there waiting for your magic. When the 79th protrusion was pressed, the stone wall that was originally blocking them suddenly cracked open, and a stone staircase made of 10 platforms appeared in front of them. Ji Yunfan took a deep breath, and his face showed an expression as if he could bear a heavy burden. I never thought that I could actually deduce the trajectories of the 79 magic bases. To be honest, I really hesitated when it came to the last 3. But, Amy, I hope you don't tell anyone else about this. He still understood the principle of being guilty of possessing a treasure. If there was no other way and he didn't want to be trapped down there, he would not do this in front of Amy. Besides, he couldn't kill someone to silence him, so now he could only compromise and ask Amy not to tell anyone about this. Amy stared at Ji Yunfan's eyes for a moment, then took a deep breath and said, I swear in the name of the god of water element, if I tell this to anyone, I will never feel the magic element. Amy's words just fell, and a vague blue figure suddenly appeared behind her. Then the blue figure gently waved his hand, and a light blue mark flew out from Amy's forehead and split into 2. Half of the mark returned to Amy, and the other half of the blue mark flew towards Yunfan and finally sank into his forehead. Is this what people often call the oath of the gods? Yunfan was very curious about the blue figure. Yes, this is what is called the oath of the gods. Under the witness of the gods you believe in, once the person who swore violates the oath, he will be spurned by the gods he believes in. To be honest, even though Yunfan was in this world of swords and magic, he had never believed that there were gods in this world. In his opinion, all magic could be explained by science. However, the blue figure that appeared when Amy took the oath this time made Yunfan's original concept a little shaken. Amy, is the blue figure that just appeared behind you the figure of the god of water element? Yunfan said. Of course, have you forgotten the oath I just made? What kind of existence are gods? Have they existed since ancient times, or have they become gods through cultivation? Do you think we will become gods one day? Chapter 40, The Gate to Eternal Life. Dante, don't talk nonsense. You should know that there are gods above you. What you say will be heard by the gods you believe in. Amy's face suddenly changed, and she stopped him. The gods are high above us. As long as we don't blaspheme them, how can they care about what we say? Okay, let's not talk about this now, and leave here quickly. Yunfan shook his head slightly and said. Without waiting for Amy to say anything else, Yunfan took the lead in walking into the passage, and Amy followed closely. There was a magic lamp placed at intervals in the passage. Although the light of the magic lamp was not very dazzling, it was enough for two people to see the road clearly. The two people walked down the stairs of the passage. I don't know how long they walked. The scene in front of them suddenly became wider. Although they were in the dark, Amy's clear eyes looked around, and a big door in the distance fell into her sight. What is that? Amy asked in confusion. It seems to be a door. Yunfan frowned slightly. To be precise, it should be an ancient and dilapidated stone door. Let's go and have a look. Amy plucked up her courage and walked over there. Being alone with Yunfan, Amy was still a little nervous. After all, it was her first time to be with a boy in the dark. Although she believed that Yunfan would not do anything to her, her heartbeat was inevitably faster. She tried to divert the attention of the two. Yunfan followed Amy without saying a word and walked over there. This was indeed a door. Yunfan said, I don't know when this door was built, but it has collapsed. It should be more than just a door now. I just don't know what the purpose of this door is. This should be the text from the Zhou Empire era, but I don't know what these words and symbols mean. Amy muttered softly. Yunfan brushed off the dust on the stone door, and with the dim light of the magic lamp, he could see the words on it clearly, and said, it says, open the door to eternal life. What a big tone. This sentence should have been left by a super strong man. The strength of that strong man must have been at its peak, but so what? He should eventually perish like the Zhou Empire, and eventually turn into a pile of yellow earth, leaving only these broken stone doors. Dante, how do you know the language of the Zhou Empire? Amy was full of curiosity about this matter, because there were only a few people in the entire Nigel Empire who knew the language of the Zhou Empire. She knew Dante's original identity, but the more so, the more incredible it felt. Do you remember where we first met? Yunfan smiled. The library. Amy answered without hesitation. Yes, that's when I learned the characters of the Zhou Empire. Although there are still many characters that I can't recognize, I can guess the general meaning through the artistic conception. Yunfan said frankly. His current identity is not like a slave servant like before, and there is no need to hide some things. What? You? What kind of monster are you? You actually learned the characters of the Zhou Empire in the library on the first floor of the college. Amy's eyes widened, and she exclaimed in disbelief. It's okay, I'm different from you. Yunfan paused for a moment, and then said faintly, maybe I will never be able to return to my hometown. Dante, what are you talking about? Isn't your hometown the Nigel Empire? Amy was confused by Yunfan's words at this moment. Oh, sorry, I said the wrong thing just now. Yunfan reacted immediately, but didn't want others to know that he was not the real Dante, but just a resurrected zombie. Otherwise, he might be caught by others for a search, and his life would be miserable. If you don't want to talk, forget it. Amy pouted. She didn't know why Ji Yunfan's perfunctory words made her feel very uncomfortable. Ji Yunfan shrugged. It was not that he didn't want to talk, but even he himself didn't know what was going on. If he told her, Amy would not understand, and there might even be something he didn't want to see. Amy walked around the stone door and was about to check the situation in other places. Suddenly, she screamed. Ji Yunfan found that the stone door had opened at some point, and the place where Amy was standing was quickly sucked over by the stone door. His face changed, and he immediately cried out that it was not good. He jumped towards Amy, but the suction of the stone door was too strong. He didn't pull Amy back, and even he was sucked in. Directly in the stone door, it seemed like a bottomless abyss. Ji Yunfan felt that everything around him was chaotic. In an instant, he felt that his brain was blank, as if he no longer belonged to this world. Ji Yunfan didn't know when he had already held Amy in his arms. Amy had closed her eyes. Although she was a magician, she was just a girl. Amy didn't open her eyes until the two of them felt no longer dizzy and had arrived at another place steadily. Amy saw the light again, as if she had survived a disaster. Amy's heart was full of emotion. Amy hurriedly got out of Ji Yunfan's arms. We seemed to have passed through a time and space tunnel just now. Ji Yunfan suddenly said seriously. Time and space tunnel, this is impossible. Amy shook her head, indicating that she didn't believe it. Besides, you haven't passed through a time and space tunnel. How do you know that we are passing through a time and space tunnel now? Ji Yunfan was silent again in response to Amy's questioning. His origins were absolutely impossible to tell anyone. Well, if you say it's not, then it's not. What kind of place is this? Ji Yunfan muttered to himself, trying to figure out where he was now. There are so many books here. Amy looked around the whole space carefully. Not far away, there were many bookshelves with various books on them. She couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. Ji Yunfan slowly walked to one of the bookshelves, took a book from the shelf, and glanced at it. These books are written in the language of the Zul Empire. It seems that this place should be the laboratory of a very powerful magician in the Zul Empire. I just don't know how much stuff he has preserved in this laboratory. Chapter 41 The Diary of Patridge Needham. In the year 2035 of the Holy Calendar, they found me. At that time, I had already reached the peak level of the God of Law. I had been looking for a way to be deified. They told me that they had a way to become a god, so I believed them. I prepared according to their method until the year 2050 of the Holy Calendar. It took me 15 years to finally gather all the things needed to ignite the divine fire. So I arranged everything in Khaldun according to that method. I had been waiting for an opportunity. Although I felt very uneasy about sacrificing the entire Khaldun in order to become a god, I decided to complete the sacrificial magic circle. How could the admiration of thousands of people catch up with the temptation of immortality? Seeing this, Ji Yunfan's face suddenly turned pale. In his previous life, when he was reading history books, he had seen that Qin Shi Huang sent Zufu to find elixirs. It can be seen that even the emperor could not escape the desire for immortality. He even asked himself in his heart, on one hand, he would become a god who would live forever, and on the other hand, there was a city with millions of people. What would he choose? Ji Yunfan was at a loss. No one knows how much suffering I have experienced in my heart. Looking at those eyes that admire me, I have also hesitated. I don't know whether I should turn them all into my nutrients in order to become a god. I'm 743 years old this year. If I can't find a way to break through, I may only have a few decades to live. Although there are only 2 words in Fengshan, I have been obsessed with it. Ji Yunfan felt his hesitation and struggle from Patridge Needham's diary. This is a human choice. Ji Yunfan murmured and shook his head. This choice is really too difficult. Even if he was asked to choose, it would be difficult to make a decision. What did you see? Why is your expression so weird? Amy asked in confusion. Some things you know are better not to know, but you can't help but delve into them. I think it's better for you not to know what's written on it. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be able to sleep from now on. Ji Yunfan nodded slightly. What exactly is written on it? People are like this. The more you tell him this news, the more he wants to know what the secret is. Do you really want to know? I think you will regret it after you know it. Dante, don't keep me in suspense. Tell me quickly. The more Yunfan did this, the more curious she became. It says here that Patrick Needham found a way to become a god, and it took him 15 years to prepare. Become a god. What can a mortal really become? Does it say how to become a god? Amy's eyes were full of eagerness. The gods were high above, and almost everyone on the entire continent dreamed of becoming a god one day. What specific method was used? It's not mentioned here, but according to what is written above, it seems that the method of becoming a god is very cruel, and requires the complete sacrifice of a city. Sacrifice a city, Dante. Are you sure you are not kidding? Is this a way to become a god, or a way to become a demon? Amy's tone was full of doubt. Did you misunderstand the meaning? Not many people can recognize the Zul text, so it's understandable that you misunderstood the meaning. Although I can't fully understand the Zul text, I can still understand the general meaning. I can tell you responsibly that he is indeed going to sacrifice a city, and the name of that city is Kilton. You are saying that the reason why this place has become like this, and the reason why the Zul Empire was destroyed, is because Patrick Needham wanted to become a god. Amy felt extremely conflicted in her heart. Her eyes were full of confusion. Although Patrick Needham is a dark god of magic, he has always been her idol, and now the idol's personality has completely collapsed. I haven't seen the questions you asked, but I feel that the destruction of the Zul Empire and Patrick Needham must be inevitably related. Yunfan continued to flip through Patrick Needham's diary. Days passed by, and I was waiting for an opportunity, the opportunity to complete the ritual. I couldn't let others doubt it, otherwise, even though I was a god of law, those friends might stop me. I had to get rid of those people who could stop me. I couldn't allow any mistakes, because I only had one chance. If I failed, not only would I not be able to become a god, but I would also be despised by everyone, and it would be impossible for me to have the opportunity to become a god in the future. In order to become a god, I had to harden my heart. How wonderful the word god is, immortal. Yunfan read it out according to his own understanding. It seems that Patrick Needham was completely corrupted back then. It's probably because of him that this place is what it is now. This is impossible. This is impossible. Patrick Needham is a hero of Zul. How could he do such a thing? Amy wanted to defend her idol. The temptation to become a god is too great. If you face such a choice one day, you might choose to follow her path. Yunfan took a breath and said, Dante, what can mortals really achieve? Amy asked, looking into Yunfan's eyes. Maybe he can become a god, maybe not. Who can tell for sure? But how can he do such a crazy thing for that illusory chance to become a god? You know, he is the god of law who protects the country of Zul. Who told him how to become a god? The human heart is a very complicated thing. It is hard to tell when it will change. Many people like to stick to one thing. For a strong man who has already stood at the peak of the god of law, maybe becoming a god has become his inner demon. He can give up everything for it. The opportunity I have been waiting for has finally come. I will never forget that day, on March 7th, 2070 of the Holy Calendar, the 2000th anniversary of the founding of the Zul Empire. The Emperor and I discussed how to hold an unprecedented celebration. In order to become a god forever, I can no longer care about so much. This is an opportunity. If I miss this opportunity, I don't know how long I will have to wait. Besides, it is nothing to sacrifice an empire to create a god. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42. What happened that year? So I lied to the Emperor that day. I told him that when I was reading ancient books, I accidentally got a magic circle. That magic circle can let us communicate with the magic god in heaven. As long as we worship him, we can be protected by the magic god. The Emperor completely believed my words. It was so tempting to have the protection of the gods. I silently comforted myself in my heart that after I became a god, I would choose to protect the Zul Empire. In this way, I was not lying. Everything has been arranged. I'm waiting for the day of the celebration. I feel that these days, every day is like a year. Compared with the past, time seems to be stretched a lot. I finally waited for this day. Why don't you read it? Amy was very curious about what happened to Patrick Needham later. Seeing that Yunfan stopped reading, she couldn't help but urge him. This diary has been written until this day. There is nothing left. How can I read it? Yunfan shook his head helplessly and said, the day when the celebration began is the last record in the diary. It seems that something really happened when I was young. I just don't know if Patrick Needham succeeded in the end. Anyway, this has become an unsolved case. It has been so long. Why do I still care about these things? Yunfan laughed at himself. These books are written in Zul language. I think you can't understand them. Leave them to me. Yunfan shamelessly took all the books. These books are books that Patrick Needham once collected. They must be of great value. Although I can't understand them, they should be able to exchange for a lot of money. For some reason, Amy always disliked Yunfan and wanted to make trouble for him. How about you leave all these books to me, and I will return them to you after I make money. Can I count them as my debt now? Yunfan sighed. Since you've begged me so much, I'll reluctantly agree to it. Amy's lips curled up slightly, with a hint of victory. Seeing Amy smiling, Yunfan didn't know why he felt like he was being cheated. Since this is the former laboratory of Patrick Needham, there should be some good things here. While thinking about it, he began to survey again. He really found a space ring with only a few hundred cubic meters in a room not far away, so he directly replaced the space ring with a very small space. There were also a lot of alchemical materials in the adjacent room. Although Yunfan didn't know how much these alchemical materials were worth, he expected that the price should not be too cheap. He didn't even think about it and wanted to collect these materials. These materials were also discovered by the two of us, so we should split the bill 50-50. You're so cruel. Deal. Yunfan nodded helplessly. The two of them quickly cleaned up the battlefield, and the entire basement was like a swarm of locusts, with nothing left. It seems that Patrick Needham named the portal the Gate of Eternal Life, which means that he has found a way to become a god forever. Yunfan suddenly said, but that method, fortunately, has not been recorded. If it is really recorded, I really don't know if I will become a demon like him. I don't know why Amy has a deep sense of frustration in her heart. As a genius girl, she has been praised by countless people since she was a child, and she has read countless secret books in the academy. Her knowledge is much more profound than that of her peers. She still has a little pride in her heart, but compared with Yunfan, this monster, she feels that she is too ignorant. Amy muttered to herself, can you leave a way out for others? It's no wonder that Amy has such an idea. Yunfan is an existence that cannot be guessed by ordinary people. It has been said before that his soul not only comes from a place called the earth, but also his soul has undergone strange changes and has the same calculation and deduction ability as the intelligent brain. Little girl, why are you still in a daze here? Let's go to other rooms and see if there are any good things or find a way out. Seeing Amy in a daze, Yunfan waved his hand in front of Amy's eyes. Oh. Amy came back to her senses and responded absent-mindedly. But to be honest, I don't think there are many other valuable things here. How should I put it? Judging from the traces left here, Patrick Needham was actually ready to give up this place back then. Yunfan said, while scanning the surroundings. Why? Think about it. No matter whether his plan succeeds in the end, he will not stay here, because once it succeeds, as he said, he will ignite the divine fire and become a god. Aren't gods supposed to live in heaven? After becoming a god, maybe he will no longer be in this world, but if his plan fails, he will also be spurned by the entire Zul Empire. Just as Yunfan expected, in other rooms of the laboratory, although some things were found, those things were not of much value. Yunfan used brain simulation to identify where the magic traps were buried in several other rooms through the cracks on the walls and the laying methods of the floor tiles. After Yunfan found the traps, Amy couldn't help sweating as she looked at them. In her opinion, these traps were too tricky, and with her magician's intuition, once these magic traps were running, she, a beautiful woman, would definitely die. This level of mechanism is simply not difficult. Ji Yunfan smiled complacently, and that expression was incomparably of Elaine's success in Amy's eyes. Dante, you can die if you don't pretend. Amy rolled her eyes and couldn't help complaining. I don't know since when Amy has become accustomed to Ji Yunfan's existence and has become accustomed to quarreling with him. Who can say for sure? Maybe not pretending can really suffocate people to death. After Ji Yunfan walked forward for a distance, he took out a low-level magic scroll from the space ring and threw it forward. With a snap, the magic scroll fell on one of the blue bricks. In the passage ahead, dense magic arrows were flying everywhere, like a rainstorm. Chapter 43 Trapped Underground. Amy's pretty face turned pale. She could imagine how miserable it would be if they continued to walk over and accidentally triggered the magic trap. In an instant, the whole body was pierced by magic arrows. How did you find the location of the mechanism at such a long distance? Amy asked with doubts in her heart. The magic trap is actually similar to the magic scroll. They are all arranged in the space to form magic subtracts. Although these magic subtracts are not activated, they still interact with the magic element in the air. As long as you carefully sense the changes in the magic element, you can find the magic trap. Ji Yunfan, the technical geek, was ready to start his long speech, but these things seemed like a fairy tale to Amy in the other world. Okay, let's hurry up and find a way out. Amy smiled and looked at Ji Yunfan and said. Although she was in an unknown place, Amy had a feeling that as long as she was with Ji Yunfan, she would be safe and there would be no problems. This feeling was something she had never experienced before. If we use the words on Earth, it is what people call a sense of security. Looking at Ji Yunfan's back, although Ji Yunfan is still very thin now, he gives her a sense of steadiness. Amy followed Ji Yunfan in silence, walking absent-mindedly, not knowing what she was thinking. Perhaps it was not bad to be with Ji Yunfan, but after a moment, she quickly shook her head to get rid of this idea. She still had her things to do. She wanted revenge, and she didn't want her feelings to affect her judgment. This Amy was still a person with secrets, perhaps not as people knew. Amy, why are you distracted again? Don't you know what situation we are in now? The two figures walked forward all the way, heading deep into the passage. However, while walking, Ji Yunfan saw Amy's absent-minded look and couldn't help but remind her again, I don't want to encounter any danger later, and I have to bring you with me. Dante, who do you say is the burden? Just as Ji Yunfan and Amy were exploring Patrick Needham's alchemy laboratory together, in the ruins of the jungle outside, many explorers have already gone deep into it. Because of Ji Yunfan's attention, many people have passed the Shadow Scorpion. I don't know how Dante and Amy are doing now. Avril raised the magic wand in her hand and turned back to the other members of the mercenary team. Your Highness, didn't the Tesseniers say it? With the Earth Bear and the Little Bear, my brother will be fine. Kim didn't care at all. He was now a little blindly confident in Ji Yunfan. I hope Amy and the others are safe. It was really dangerous just now. I didn't expect there would be so many high-level magic beasts here. What a bunch of rubbish. They actually let the Thunder Wolf run away with serious injuries. A middle-aged mercenary cursed depressedly. A 4th level magic beast, even if it is just a primary demon spirit, can be sold for at least hundreds of thousands of gold coins. As a result, several people were injured, but the Thunder Wolf ran away. It was really depressing. What annoyed them most was that they encountered a lot of hostile forces, and these hostile forces were still eyeing them. According to the information provided on the treasure map, the location of the treasure should not be far away. Henry looked at the half of the map in his hand. The treasure is right in front of us. Those guys who are ready to move may not be able to sit still anymore. So your highness, you must remember not to confront them head on. In the ruins, everyone was extremely nervous. They had already begun to be wary of their companions, who would not be tempted. At the same time, several guys in black robes stood in an extremely hidden place, spying on everything. I didn't expect that this plan would attract so many experts. As long as this plan can be successfully completed, I will definitely be appreciated by the bishop. Sir Deacon, I heard that many of the mercenaries who came this time are nobles of the empire, and even Princess Avril. If we do it according to the original plan, they will definitely not survive. If their families know that these things are done by us, I'm afraid that they will send a large army to encircle us. Do you think our Church of the Scourge is afraid of an empire? It's fine if they don't come to us, but if they provoke us, we will just destroy them directly. It's okay for the Nigel Empire, but I'm worried that the people of the Holy See of Light will not give up. The group of hypocrites of the Holy See of Light. Report, Sir Deacon, someone has arrived at the altar now. At this time, a man in a black robe came from a distance and knelt on the ground. Very good. Continue to follow the actions of these mercenaries and make sure to accurately grasp the number of people who come to the altar. Yes, Sir Deacon. The man in black robe respectfully saluted the deacon, turned around and left. This is the place indicated by the treasure map. It doesn't look like a big deal. Bennett muttered quietly. At this time, many people have come to the location marked on the map. Now in front of them is a stone door similar to the one Yunfan and his friends encountered. Maybe the treasure is behind this door. It's incredible. Who would have thought that we could find the treasure of the Zul Empire? At this moment, almost all the mercenaries present showed happy smiles. They have begun to think about what they should do after they get the treasure. The greedy desire has made them dizzy. A group of pathetic people. They didn't know from the beginning to the end that this is just a scam. Greed and desire can never be filled, so you people are just wasting food to live. It's better to contribute some for my plan. The leading black-clothed man muttered to himself with a ferocious face. Uncle Henry, Uncle Wallace, it doesn't seem to be dangerous here. Are you too worried? Avril said. Not long after, the stone door was opened, and a group of people rushed in. Uncle Henry, Uncle Wallace, let's hurry in, otherwise, when they search the entire ruins, we will get nothing. Avril said eagerly. Little girl, if it was really that simple, the treasure of the Zul Empire would have been discovered long ago. Henry said unhappily. Chapter 44, The Conspiracy in Progress. Let's stay here for now, and let these guys explore the way first. Henry said with a slight smile. Henry, I don't know what's going on. I always have a bad feeling, as if something is going to happen. Wallace said in a gloomy tone. You are not the only one who has this feeling. I have been uneasy all the time. Maybe something will really happen. Henry frowned slightly. At this time, a roaring sound suddenly came from the sky. For a moment, all the adventurers almost simultaneously cast their eyes in the direction where the sound came from. That's the Pegasus Knight of the Holy Light Church. I didn't expect that even the people of the Holy Light Church have been alarmed. Is there really a divine weapon here? Many adventurers have already started to discuss. They originally had doubts about this adventure, and the Pegasus Knight of the Holy Light Church dispelled their last hesitation. Wallace, you can send Her Highness the Princess away now. I will be there soon. I want to see what the Holy Light Church wants to do, Henry said solemnly. Uncle Henry, didn't we agree on this at the beginning? Why do you suddenly change your mind now? Avril asked loudly, already a little angry. Avril, you should follow Wallace and leave here quickly. The Pegasus Knights of the Holy Light Church have already been dispatched. This relic may not be as simple as we thought. Henry explained. It's just the Pegasus Knights. It's actually nothing big. Avril pouted. The minimum standard to join the Pegasus Knights is the 5th level. And did you see the leader? That's Leo, the deputy leader of the Pegasus Knights, who has the strength of an 8th level Sky Warrior. Wow, I didn't expect these Pegasus Knights to be so powerful. Avril was also shocked by Henry's words. Sir, the situation seems to be beyond our control. The Pegasus Knights of the Holy Light Church are here too. Isn't it just in time that they are here? I was just worried that there weren't enough people to sacrifice. Once they enter the magic circle, let alone an 8th level Sky Warrior, even a sword master would become the nourishment for our sacrificial magic circle. Deputy leader, we have reached our destination now. At this time, an ordinary Pegasus Knight beside Leo said to him respectfully, have you found anyone from the Scourge Church? No, maybe this matter has nothing to do with them, or not. The ordinary Pegasus Knight hesitated for a moment and still expressed his opinion. It has nothing to do with them. Do you believe this? Leo's face was gloomy and terrible, and then he looked around at the adventurers around him with a lightning-like gaze. What is that? A Pegasus Knight suddenly pointed in a direction and saw a mysterious magic circle altar in the direction he pointed. It looks like a magic altar, but I don't know what this altar does. I felt a slight spatial fluctuation on the altar. This magic altar is likely to connect to a more distant plane, but I don't know why. I always have a vague feeling of uneasiness, Leo said in a gloomy tone. At this time, everyone noticed the existence of the magic altar, and many adventurers had already rushed to the magic altar, because in the map they got, there was a description of the magic altar, that is where the treasure was buried. Although it was only 1,000 meters away, everyone felt as far away as across the sea. This distance was related to their future prospects. If they could reach the magic altar before others, they would have a greater hope of getting the treasure. The huge city ruins were full of dilapidated buildings. This short distance was very difficult to walk. Because they walked too fast, some people sprained their ankles here, but it could not stop their eager hearts. They did not stop for a moment, endured the pain, and continued to move forward without falling behind. At this moment, some people were ready to move, and attack the people around them. Human nature was fully reflected at this moment. For a moment, many adventurers were already caught in a melee. A group of short-sighted guys. They haven't found any treasure yet, but they have already started fighting among themselves. The deacon of the Church of the Scourge hid in the dark and laughed coldly, but it's good this way. It saves us a lot of trouble. Wait a minute, as long as we find a way to deal with these Pegasus Knights. Even if they arrived at the magic circle altar safely, whether they could open the so-called treasure was still an unknown. This was a huge shadow shrouding everyone's heart. However, at this moment, the adventurers who took the lead had no choice. Even if they stopped first and stopped attacking, they would be attacked by other adventurers. The magic circle altar seemed to be their only life-saving straw. Now they could only rush there first, and then think of a way. How ridiculous these guys' behavior is. They don't know that all this is arranged by us. The purpose is to sacrifice them. One by one, they are still scrambling. A member of the Church of the Scourge laughed. Greed is their original sin. It is their blessing to sacrifice their dirty blood to our god. I seem to have seen the pattern on this altar somewhere. What is this magic altar used for? Leo said to himself solemnly. I have seen it in the church's scriptures. That pattern is the symbol of the dark god of destruction in ancient times. This magic altar is used to communicate with the dark god of destruction. Yes, it is that thing. Leo also remembered the meaning of the pattern. This so-called treasure ruins are definitely related to the Church of the Scourge. I just don't know what kind of conspiracy they are brewing. No, we must not let their conspiracy be implemented. Once it involves the gods, it is not a small matter. If a new evil god really descends on the continent, the pattern of the continent is likely to change because of this. This is naturally not what the authorities want to see. Members of the Pegasus Knights, listen to the order, and do your best to stop them from approaching the altar. Leo ordered in a deep voice. Yes, I saw the Pegasus Knights, like arrows from a bow, chasing in the direction of the magic altar. Sir Steward, it seems that the Pegasus Knights have discovered our secret. So what if they discovered our secret? Do you think the Pegasus Knights alone can stop us? Chapter 45 Mysterious Crystal Coffin. Stop, don't go any further, it's very dangerous ahead. Danger? Where is the danger? The treasure artifact is right in front of us, but you Pegasus Knights, who are so high up, tell us that it's very dangerous ahead. Do you want to keep the treasure for yourself? With the background of our church, would you still care about the treasure of the Zul Empire, which has only existed for more than 2000 years? The magic altar is really very dangerous, because it is not a treasure of the Zul Empire at all, but a treasure left by the Church of the Scourge. Although we don't know what the magic altar is for, judging from the inscriptions on it, it should be used to communicate with Diablo. Who are you kidding? What Scourge Association? What Diablo? Are just your own excuses. You just want to keep the treasure for yourself. Why waste words with these people? Solve it violently, and make them shut up. Leo said directly. After hearing Leo's words, everyone tightly grasped their weapons, ready to fight these Pegasus Knights to the end. Henry, what should we do? The current situation has exceeded their imagination, Wallace asked Henry in a low voice. Wait and see. Don't you think those people are doing the same? Henry looked at some people from other forces who were watching the fire from the other side. Sir Steward, the situation does not seem to have developed as we expected. It doesn't matter, don't we have another plan? Ji Yunfan and Amy walked forward in the underground laboratory. After about an hour, the two saw a magnificent building in the distance. The laboratory was built under the city. The high-level officials of the Zhou Empire must have known about this laboratory, but they didn't know that the things studied in this laboratory would kill them. As Ji Yunfan judged, almost all the good things had been taken away by Patrick Needham. Walking into another room, the scene in front of him immediately shocked him and Amy deeply. The room was full of corpses, both adults and children, densely piled together, and they seemed to have gone through countless painful struggles before they died. It's terrible. Amy's face turned pale all of a sudden. How can it be so cruel? Amy's eyes were red, and tears flowed down her pretty face involuntarily. These corpses were big and small, showing that they were all at different ages. I don't know how much they suffered in their lives, but now they are dying here silently. Ji Yunfan sighed and said, everyone worships Patrick Needham, but no one knows what he really is. His cruelty has long been hidden by his bright appearance. If I'm not mistaken, this is where Patrick Needham experiments on human bodies. It seems that these people did not die by sacrifice, but because Patrick Needham disappeared, these people can only be trapped here. Amy opened her mouth and showed an unbelievable expression on her face. She never thought that her idol could do such a cruel thing. Ji Yunfan took a deep breath. At this moment, his heart was surging, and it was difficult to calm down. In his previous life, as a research maniac, he naturally knew that some people could do crazy things for research. They all looked glamorous on the surface. In his previous life, everyone was amazed when they mentioned him, but not many people knew about his miserable childhood. When he was a child, he lived in an inhumane laboratory. The laboratory used children and the elderly to conduct various experiments every day, and he was one of the experimental subjects at that time. The picture of him being tortured inhumanely at that time was still so clear. He watched his friends die one by one. Finally, he escaped. Ji Yunfan clenched his fists tightly. He hated such a conscienceless person. Let's go, Amy said. She really couldn't bear to stay here any longer. She was afraid that she would have nightmares if she stayed here for a long time. Wait a minute, I have a feeling that there should be some secrets hidden here. Ji Yunfan took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. Hearing Ji Yunfan's words, Amy forced herself to calm down. A thought flashed through her mind. Could there be any secrets here? Ji Yunfan and Amy began to search the entire room. These people should be the assistants of Patrick Needham. Ji Yunfan found some magic equipment and several space rings with very small space from the bodies of several withered bones. Most of the things in the space rings have decayed. Oh my god, Dante, look over there, a crystal coffin. Amy exclaimed in disbelief, because in the center of this room, there was a coffin made of crystal, and several magic crystals were inlaid on the coffin. The surface of the crystal coffin was densely covered with mysterious spells, which seemed familiar. The pattern on this crystal coffin was very delicate, and the owner of this crystal coffin must have been very noble in his lifetime. What do these texts and graphics mean? Approaching the crystal coffin, Amy felt a mysterious magical power coming towards her. In front of this mysterious and majestic power, Amy felt so small, like a small boat in the sea, which could be swept away at any time. Amy, be careful. Don't you think it's strange? So many people died in the whole room, but no one died next to the crystal coffin. Ji Yunfan said in a deep voice, if they can't get close to the crystal coffin, then the crystal coffin is very dangerous. What is this crystal coffin? Is it really as magical as you said? Amy was about to come over in disbelief. Just when she was about 10 meters away from the crystal coffin, she suddenly turned pale and stepped back dozens of steps. Amy, what's wrong with you? Ji Yunfan looked at Amy in confusion. I just seemed to see a huge eye. Amy answered with lingering fear. Huge eye. Hearing Amy's words, Ji Yunfan raised his eyebrows slightly. He didn't see any huge eyes, but he guessed that some powerful person should have set up a magic circle in this crystal coffin, so Amy couldn't get close. Wait a minute next to you. Let me go and take a look first, Ji Yunfan said as he walked towards the direction of the crystal coffin. When Ji Yunfan walked to the position where Amy just walked, he stopped. Chapter 46. Possession. Blasphemy. How is it? Amy asked nervously. I didn't feel the huge eye you mentioned. Could it be that the magic circle on the crystal coffin has no effect on certain people? Ji Yunfan speculated. He thought for a moment and turned to Amy and said, "You step back first. Leave this to me." "Okay, but you must be careful." Amy nodded and stepped back a few steps. The strange crystal coffin gave her a bad feeling. She really wanted to leave the room. Ji Yunfan began to carefully look at the crystal coffin in front of him. The crystal coffin was completely sealed. There were all kinds of mysterious patterns on it, but Ji Yunfan had no idea about the patterns on it. I don't know why Ji Yunfan felt a little familiar with the breath emanating from this crystal coffin, but he couldn't remember when he felt this feeling. Waves of energy spread out, which should be the mark left by a strong man. Even after thousands of years, it can still be attached to an object and never dissipate. From this point, we can see how powerful the strong man who left a mark on this crystal coffin was. There is no sign of opening this crystal coffin. I'm afraid that even Patrick Needham has not been able to open the crystal coffin. I don't know what is inside. Ji Yunfan felt that the mental power in his body had begun to stir uneasy. There seemed to be a mysterious voice in the depths of the soul sea, telling him to open the crystal coffin in front of him. What is in this crystal coffin? Ji Yunfan walked to the side of the crystal coffin and looked at the various mysterious spells on it. Strange thoughts flashed through his mind. He was buried here. He had his hands on the lid of the crystal coffin. Suddenly, a black light shot towards Ji Yunfan from the crystal coffin. With a whoosh, the dark light bombarded Ji Yunfan. Ji Yunfan felt as if his head was hit hard by something, and then an irresistible force rushed into his head. Ji Yunfan felt as if his brain was about to be shattered. Even Ji Yunfan's strong will could not withstand this horrible pain. What is this thing? Ji Yunfan felt a black shadow drilling into the depths of his mind. The black shadow was like thousands of daggers, piercing deeply into the depths of Ji Yunfan's soul. Ji Yunfan felt as if his soul sea of consciousness was about to be blown up. Amy, who was always paying attention to Ji Yunfan's situation from a distance, saw Ji Yunfan's painful roar and didn't know what to do. "Dante, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Dante, what happened?" Ji Yunfan felt that his consciousness was gradually becoming blurred. A ferocious voice sounded in his heart. "Give up. Give your body to me. Let me live for you. I will make you the glory of this world." What's wrong with me? Who am I? Ji Yunfan's mind was very painful, but it was blank. He felt that he was sunk into the sea in an instant, and everything around him seemed to have stopped. Amy hurriedly ran in the direction of Ji Yunfan, but when she was about 10 meters away from Ji Yunfan, a powerful magic wave instantly knocked her away. She couldn't get close to Ji Yunfan at all. But why did Ji Yunfan have such a powerful magic wave? Amy was hit by the extremely powerful magic power, and her body slid on the ground for several meters. She was injured in several places on her body, and blood had stained her magic robe red. She ignored the pain in her body and took out the magic wand from the space ring, wanting to use her mental power to find out. Boom! Amy's mental power was also bounced away. This force was too strong and beyond her ability to resist. Just the dissipated mental power fluctuations had caused her mental power to suffer a lot of damage. What kind of impact would Ji Yunfan, who was in the mental power vortex, suffer? Amy's soul sea was shaken, and her mental organs were seriously injured. She felt very tired. "Dante, you must hold on. Don't let anything happen." After the last thought flashed through Amy's mind, she fainted. At this moment, Ji Yunfan, who was in the black light, trembled all over. "Boy, give up and give your body to this god. This is your honor. Possession." Ji Yunfan thought of the words he often saw in the novels of his previous life, and suddenly his consciousness became clearer. He struggled desperately. He understood his current situation. As long as his consciousness was slightly relaxed, he would be swallowed by this evil thought and become nutrients to leave this world forever. "No, I don't care who you are. Get out of my mind," Ji Yunfan said viciously. "What? You little mortals dare to disobey this god?" Ji Yunfan's soul kept shaking and cracking, but there was a mysterious power that made him heal and repair himself. The soul slowly formed the shape of a towering tree, constantly devouring the evil thought. Ji Yunfan only had the last trace of consciousness left, and he was determined to live. At this time, even he had a deep doubt about what the plant that sprouted from the seed hidden in the depths of his soul was. Damn, what are you? Why is your soul so weird? The evil thought felt the strange tree that made him tremble in the depths of Yunfan's soul and couldn't help but roared. Don't devour me, I'm the dignified dark god Sakadan, you blasphemer, you will be punished by God. Stop. Stop quickly. Who cares? Since it can absorb this evil thought, then absorb it. What's wrong with being a blasphemer? It's better than being swallowed up completely. Yunfan controlled his mental power and frantically urged the strange sapling to absorb all the black light. Black light continued to rush into Yunfan's soul sea, but those black lights did not stir up any waves in the soul sea, and were absorbed by the strange sapling, disappearing without a trace. Blasphemer. Damn blasphemer, I curse you in my name. Bastard. Little brother, let me go now. Can we live in peace? You know, I'm a god. I can tell you how to become a god, so that you can become a real god like me, and from now on, immortal. Yunfan smiled coldly, but was not moved at all, frantically urging the sapling in the sea of consciousness. Chapter 47, Servant of the Gods. God. Immortal? If you are really immortal, how could you end up like this? Do you think I will believe what you said? Damn it, I'm indeed a real god, but my godhead was broken and damaged in the war of gods. What do you want me to do to let me go? Don't waste your energy. Although the temptation of becoming a god is great for me, I don't trust you at all. As a former god, you may have some hidden tricks. As long as I'll let you escape this time, I don't know when my life will be in danger. I only have this one chance. Yunfan felt that at the moment, when the black light disappeared, an extremely weak mental power slowly seeped out from his soul sea. The originally violent mental power, under the effect of the mysterious plant, became as gentle as water, and fed back to every corner of his body. Even his flesh began to be strengthened, his muscles became stronger, and the impurities in his skin were quickly discharged from his body with body hair. Damn it, I can sign a brotherhood contract with you, so that we can't betray each other. The thought has begun to give up the dignity of the gods and compromise. He has no choice now. Yunfan was unmoved. Just sign a brotherhood contract? Asshole, don't push it. Signing a brotherhood contract with a former god is an honor for you. It's just a god, not to mention that it's just a former god. Do you think you are qualified to negotiate with me now? You. The dark god Sakadan felt that he had been lost for so many years and didn't understand this world anymore. Since when did an ordinary mortal dare to talk to a god like this? What do you want to do? Feeling his increasingly weak divine consciousness, the dark god Sakadan compromised again. Slave contract. I'm your master and your servant. Are you ready to recognize me as your master? I will reluctantly agree to you. I'm your master and your servant. Yunfan said with a slightly raised corner of his mouth. What? A slave contract is absolutely impossible. Really? Impossible? Then just wait to be devoured by me. You. The dark god Sakadan was a little hesitant at this moment. Although he had already died, he really didn't want the last bit of his divine consciousness to disappear like this. The dark god Sakadan was a little hesitant. After a series of ideological struggles, the dark god Sakadan finally compromised. I promise you, I will serve you as my master now. I need you to swear in the name of the god of creation. Okay. The dark god Sakadan gritted his teeth and stared at Yunfan and said, I, the dark god Sakadan, swear again to the omnipresent god of creation Cain. From now on, I will serve the person in front of me as my master. If I have a rebellious heart, I will be punished by the gods of all realms and turned into ashes. At the moment, when the dark god Sakadan had just completed his oath, a golden rune formed between the two, and then split into two, half of which fell into Yunfan's sea of consciousness, and the other half fell into the black light. Damn it, how could this happen? This is impossible. At the moment the experiment was completed, the dark god Sakadan roared angrily. It turned out that the reason why the dark god Sakadan agreed to Yunfan so easily and recognized him as his master was because in addition to being the god of dark element, he also served as the god of fraud. He originally thought that the oath would be invalidated by the fraud rules he controlled, but what really happened was unacceptable to him. What he thought was that the oath was actually established under the witness of the God of creation. This means that from now on, he will be subject to the mortal in front of him. If this mortal in front of him dies, he will also die, unless his strength can surpass the God of creation one day, then he can break this oath. Although Yunfan didn't know what happened, he could actually guess something by seeing Sakadin's reaction. Yunfan didn't care about these. Anyway, the ending was doomed. The dark god Sakadin had become his servant. Unless he lifted this restriction one day, the dark god Sakadin would never be able to hurt him. Moreover, as a former god, Sakadin absolutely possessed knowledge that ordinary people could not understand. This was an endless wealth. I don't care what little tricks you did just now, but from now on, I will be your master. The two of us can be said to be an inseparable whole. You helped me improve my strength. In fact, for you to live better. When one day your strength can no longer threaten me, I will cancel the slave contract with you. But the premise is that before that, you must assist me well. Yunfan said slowly. Sakadin was silent for a long time, and then said helplessly, I have no choice now, but I hope you can do what you say. Don't worry, Yunfan, always keep my word. Yunfan said. Yunfan? What's that name? Isn't your name Dante? Dante, that's just what outsiders call me. From now on, you can just call me Yunfan. Yunfan. This name sounds really weird. It's very similar to the name of the Eastern Immortals. Eastern Immortals? Yunfan exclaimed. Are you saying that there are really immortals in this world? You could actually heard of immortals. This shouldn't be possible. There should be no immortals staying on the Kuska continent. You know, this is the origin of the gods, and immortals will never be allowed to come here. Are the Eastern Immortals different from us? As far as I know, the Eastern Immortals are actually not much different from us gods. It's just that the focus of the use of power is different. From your tone, you don't seem to have seen the Eastern Immortals. What do you know? The Eastern Immortals and our gods are not actually in the same universe. 3000 planes form a universe, and only those who have reached the level of the Lord God can have the ability to travel through the universe. In the entire God realm, there are only a few people who can go to the immortal universe. So that's how it is. Yunfan took a deep breath. Sakadin, what level of God were you? The peak of the middle god, only one step away from the upper god. If it weren't for the war of gods, I should be the upper god at least now. Sakadin said arrogantly. The middle god is not that powerful. Yunfan said lightly. Chapter 48 Mysterious Fragments. You know what? It only took me 3000 years to become a middle level god. I'm definitely a genius in the god realm. Sakadin roared in Yunfan's mind. Okay, you are awesome. Okay. Yunfan said as he took out several bottles of recovery potions from his space ring and drank them all. Because of the fight with Sakadin, Yunfan was actually exhausted. After drinking the recovery potion, Yunfan's physical strength magically recovered quickly. At this time, Yunfan became stronger than before. Looking forward, the crystal coffin in front of him had begun to decompose and eventually turned into gravel. Yunfan thought he could see Sakadin's body because Sakadin's divine consciousness was here, and this crystal coffin seemed to have never been opened by anyone. But what surprised Yunfan was that there was nothing in the crystal coffin. Sakadin, where is your physical body? It no longer existed during the War of Gods, so don't even think about taking my divine body. Don't worry, I'm not interested in your body. I'm just curious what the body of a god looks like. Don't you already know? I'm a god of the human race, so naturally I look like a human. TSK, I thought there would be 3 heads and 6 arms. 3 heads and 6 arms? Do you think I'm the legendary Eastern Immortal? Why did the crystal coffin suddenly decompose? This crystal coffin was actually made with my last remaining divine power. Since my divine consciousness has left there, the so-called crystal coffin no longer exists. At the moment the crystal coffin disappeared, a golden fragment fell down. Yunfan stretched out his hand and grabbed the golden fragment in his hand. No one knows what material the fragment is made of. It is very thin, like a cicada's wing, and there are dense and difficult to understand words written on it. What is this? I don't know what this fragment is, but I guess it is a very extraordinary thing. This fragment was offered to me by my believers when I was still a lower god. At first, I didn't think it had any use, so I just threw it away. But when the gods fought, this fragment actually saved a trace of my divine consciousness. Under normal circumstances, it is absolutely impossible for a fallen god to preserve his divine consciousness. It can be said that I survived by relying on this fragment. If I could pay attention to it when I was alive, maybe I wouldn't have ended up like this. Sakuden said with a bit of loneliness. He has now signed a master servant contract with Yunfan. He must answer every question Yunfan asked without missing a word, so he told Yunfan all the secrets of the fragment. I didn't expect this thin piece of gold paper to be so powerful. It seems that I need to find time to study it carefully. Just when Yunfan wanted to study it carefully, Yunfan suddenly felt an impulse in his soul consciousness to take it for himself, and then the half of the fragment flew up by itself, and in a flash it sank into Yunfan's head and disappeared without a trace in an instant. What's the situation? Yunfan murmured to himself. I don't know what's going on. I have never encountered such a situation before. Sakuden suddenly became a little nervous because he and Yunfan are now in the same boat and he doesn't want to die with Yunfan without knowing why. Yunfan estimated that this situation in his mind should be related to the seed that has sprouted and grown into a sapling. Yunfan vaguely felt that as long as he collected all the fragments, all his questions could be solved. Maybe this is a bad thing. Yunfan began to recall what was written on the golden fragment. However, although he had a photographic memory, he did not remember anything on the fragment, as if it had never existed. Is it because the text is too obscure? Yunfan felt that this was not the reason. He could only use his imagination to visualize the things on the fragment. It's incredible. With my research on the languages of various systems, I can't see the content of the fragment at all. In his previous life, Yunfan had studied the civilizations and languages that existed on Earth. He even independently developed a set of language analysis methods. His research method, which worked every time, failed on this fragment. How many years have you lived? It's not surprising that you can't recognize the content of this fragment, because even I can't understand the content on it. Maybe this thing is not something in this universe. Since you can't understand it, forget it. The most important thing now is how to get out. Yunfan turned his head and found that Amy had fainted on the ground. Amy, how are you now? Yunfan was startled and ran towards Amy. When Yunfan came to Amy's side, he found that Amy's mental strength had been greatly damaged, and there were many scratches on his body, and even several deep wounds on his chest, arms and thighs. If not treated properly, it might affect Amy's future achievements. What happened to her? The little girl was quite concerned about you just now. After seeing you being attacked by my spirit, she actually wanted to forcefully break through my spirit blockade. A small mortal actually dared to challenge the majesty of the gods. This is his punishment. Sakuden, you are no longer a god now. Besides, even if you are a god, I will not allow you to attack my friends. It seems that you are quite concerned about this little girl. You are not interested in this little girl, but to be honest, this little girl is pretty. Yunfan ignored Sakuden and took 2 steps instead of 3 to Amy's side and put his hand on Amy's wrist. In his previous life, he had learned pulse diagnosis from an old Chinese doctor, and now he was just putting his knowledge into practice. What are you doing? It feels quite interesting. Pulse diagnosis. Yunfan answered casually. What is pulse diagnosis? Why have I never heard of it before? Sakuden asked curiously. There is a special channel in the body that leads to every part of the body. The movement of this channel can reflect the state of the body. People in our hometown call this special channel meridians. Yunfan explained the meridians in simple and easy to understand language. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Treatment. Isn't this mysterious passage you are talking about the blood vessels? Why are you making it so mysterious? Sakuden sneered. The blood vessels you are talking about should be what we call the blood circulation system in our hometown, but that's not what I'm talking about. I can't explain it to you clearly for a while. It is an invisible circulation system. Ji Yunfan shook his head. Ji Yunfan looked at Amy, who was unconscious due to mental damage, and still had her magic wand in her hand. He couldn't help but feel moved. Amy must have heard his cry and wanted to save him, but Amy couldn't get close to him at all. When she rushed over by force, she was injured by Sakadan's mental counterattack. Looking at Amy's appearance, Ji Yunfan's eyes were full of apology. He opened the bottle stopper of the recovery potion and poured it into Amy's mouth. After the recovery potion entered Amy's mouth, the external injuries on Amy's body healed a little, but the mental trauma did not improve at all. How could this happen? This little girl has suffered a backlash from her spiritual power, and her spiritual sea has been injured. How can this ordinary recovery potion heal the wound on her spiritual sea? Sakadan chuckled with a gloating look. Is there any way to heal the wound on her spiritual sea? No. Sakadan answered directly. Really? The dignified Dark Element Destroyer God doesn't even know how to heal the wound on her spiritual sea. It seems that you are just a waste. What's the use of me wanting you? Ji Yunfan said as he activated the Master Servant contract. Damn it, you bastard. What do you want to do? Sakadan's image was already a little distorted, and he roared ferociously. Sakadan, do you think I'm particularly easy to be deceived? Tell me how to restore my spiritual sea. Ji Yunfan said in a gloomy and terrible tone, and he could not doubt it. Okay, I'll tell you now. I beg you, please don't activate the contract again. Sakadan no longer cared about the dignity of his god, and said in a pleading tone. Sure enough, there is a way. Ji Yunfan exhaled deeply. In fact, he was not sure whether there was a way to restore the spiritual sea, but this time he really guessed it right. It seems that you are an old guy and you are not prepared to get along with me. In this case, it seems that I can only use tough measures in the future. Damn it. I was deceived by a small mortal. Sakadan said in disbelief. The former god of fraud was deceived by a small mortal. Now tell me how to restore her spiritual sea. Ji Yunfan said in a commanding tone. It's useless for me to tell you how to treat a spiritual sea now. You can't do it at all with your current level. Sakadan said. Where do you get so much nonsense? I asked you to tell me how to treat a spiritual sea. Just tell me. Ji Yunfan said coldly. If you want to treat the spiritual sea, you can only use mental power to warm it. If you want to warm it, you must make the mental power subtle. This is not something that a small trainee magician like you can do. No, a junior magician can do. How exactly do you do it? Ji Yunfan asked again. You can only experience this yourself. No matter how much I say, it will be in vain. Close your eyes and use your mental power to feel his mental power. When your two mental powers come into contact, you will understand what to do. Ji Yunfan nodded and then closed his eyes. He radiated his mental power and soon touched Amy's spirit. In his mind, Amy's mental power seemed to have become tattered. What should I do? Ji Yunfan asked himself again and again in his heart. Amy seemed to be slightly frowning because of the damage to her mental power. Her delicate face, delicate features, and soft hair scattered on her shoulders made people love her. Even with a frown, there was an indescribable feeling at such a young age. At this time, Amy's magician robe was torn in many places, revealing her slender and white flesh, which added a bit of strange temperament. Reborn in another world, becoming a young man full of vigor and vitality, Ji Yunfan seemed to be more open than in his previous life. Facing such Amy, he was already a little moved. Just when Ji Yunfan was a little distracted, he suddenly felt a subtle change in his mental power, so he moved his mind, and the mental power slowly flowed towards Amy's mental power like a stream. For a moment, the two mental powers slowly merged together. I really didn't expect that you, who only have the mental power of a junior magician, can reach the realm of macro control of mental power. You know, even a magician at the level of mage is not easy to do this. Maybe it's not too bad for me to sign a master servant contract with you. Sakadan said in surprise. With the help of Ji Yunfan's mental power, Amy quickly recovered her mental power. After Amy's mental power was restored, Ji Yunfan breathed a sigh of relief and treated the wound on Amy's body, but he was a little disappointed. Should I be a beast or a person who is worse than a beast? This is a very difficult decision. In the end, Ji Yunfan decided to be a person worse than an animal. Ji Yunfan picked up one of his magic robes and covered Amy. Ji Yunfan sat down cross-legged, feeling the changes in his mental power. The mental power in his soul sea was completely different from when he entered the forest. After absorbing the original black mental power of Sakadan, Ji Yunfan felt that his soul power had increased a lot, at least reaching 50 or 60 scales. Ji Yunfan felt that the mental power contained in those soul fragments was far more than that, and there should be a large part hidden in the depths of his soul sea. Aren't you the god of dark element? You should know the second level magic spells, right? Teach me a few first. The second level dark magic spells are nothing. It doesn't matter if I teach you. Sakadan's words had just fallen, and Ji Yunfan felt a stream of information rushing into his mind. Dark touch, dark rain, bone dagger, a series of second level magic release methods and spells flowed in his heart. I never thought that there would be so many different magics in the second level of dark magic, and the effects of each magic are different. Some magics have gone beyond the scope of simple attack and defense. Ji Yunfan murmured to himself. Chapter 50 Finding a Way Out. This so-called special magic, it turns out to be like this. Ordinary magic, the magic base stays in the same plane, and special magic distributes the magic base in space. Fallen Dark Corpse, respond to the call of the Dark Messenger, and show your existence. Ji Yunfan raised the magic wand high into the sky, chanting a spell. He gradually entered a state of ecstasy. A stream of soul power flowed in Ji Yunfan's mind like substance, and as soon as his voice fell, a white skeleton corpse appeared in front of him. The corpse was holding a snow-white bone knife, and then Ji Yunfan pointed his hand, and the corpse began to move creaking. Just when Ji Yunfan was practicing Dark Corpse, Amy woke up slowly from her coma, and after she woke up, she found that Ji Yunfan could actually release the second order trouble. Feeling incredible, and staring at Ji Yunfan with full concentration. Ji Yunfan, your mental coordination is not weak. You can even directly summon the Dark Corpse. Sakadan said with a complicated expression. Amy looked at Ji Yunfan who was experimenting with new magic, and she was still ashamed and angry. From childhood to adulthood, no boy had ever seen her body. Amy's expression was complicated. She knew that Ji Yunfan undressed her to help her heal her wounds, but Amy still couldn't let it go. After all, although she still had some good feelings for Ji Yunfan, she didn't know much about him. Amy, are you awake? Ji Yunfan was very happy to see Amy wake up. Looking into Ji Yunfan's eyes, Amy suddenly felt a sense of panic in her heart. You didn't do anything to me just now, did you? Turning her head, she said with a smile, what do you want me to do? Hearing Ji Yunfan's words, Amy's face flushed. She was now ashamed and angry, but Ji Yunfan pretended to be innocent, and said it so easily. No, nothing. What happened just now? I don't know what happened. When I woke up, the crystal coffin disappeared, and you fainted there. Ji Yunfan didn't want to tell the story of Sakadan. This matter involved the existence of gods, and had to make him cautious and cautious. Really? Amy always felt that Ji Yunfan was holding back, but she didn't want to go deeper. Huh? What's wrong? Why does my mental power seem to have increased a lot all of a sudden? I think it seems to have reached the mental power standard of an intermediate magician. This is a good thing. Did something happen to me? Amy asked, looking at Ji Yunfan's eyes in disbelief. Who knows? Ji Yunfan did not tell her about his help. From Sakadan's reaction, he seemed to have done something very remarkable again. He did not want to be disassembled for a search. Okay, let's go. Amy watched Ji Yunfan walk forward with a smile. She hesitated for a moment, and hurried to follow him. Almost every room was visited by them. Although the things inside were not very precious, they were all taken away by them. For this reason, Ji Yunfan was often ridiculed by Sakadan. These are just junk. What's the point of keeping them? Ji Yunfan naturally did not care about Sakadan's ridicule. Sakadan was very unhappy with him because of the master-servant contract. Although they had signed a master-servant contract as a visitor on Earth, they would naturally not treat Sakadan as a slave. As a former god, Ji Yunfan would still give him corresponding respect. He hoped to become friends with this former god. Only friends can be sincere to each other. These things are really nothing to you, old man, but they are a big deal to me now. You kid, you are really different from others. Sakun paused for a moment and said, if other people heard what I said, they would be angry and embarrassed, but you didn't do that. Now I'm, yes, a little curious about you. What kind of person are you? What kind of person I am, you will know after we stay together for a long time. Don't worry, as long as you don't touch my bottom line, I will not use a master servant contract to restrict you. Yunfan said in his heart. You are indeed different from others. If other people were able to enslave a god, they would definitely publicize it everywhere, but you don't seem to intend to do so. What good will it do me to tell your story? It might even cause me a lot of trouble. The most unpredictable thing in this world is the human heart. There are some people they can't get, so they might want to destroy them by all means. I don't want to be treated like garbage by others before I even grow up. I didn't expect that you, a kid, would think so much at such a young age. If I had known these things back then, maybe this wouldn't be the ending now. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Sakun, do you know how to leave this place? I don't want to be trapped here all my life. Yunfan asked in his heart. Of course, although I have been sleeping in the crystal coffin, I will wake up occasionally, so I naturally know the environment I'm in. Really? That's great. Then tell me how to leave here quickly. In the room not far away, there is actually another space door. As long as you find that space door, you can leave from that space door. Where is the space door? Just walk along this corridor. The end of his laboratory is where the space door is. Yunfan nodded and continued to move forward with Amy, looking for a way out in the deep passage. I really didn't expect that the old guy built this place like a maze, and there are traps everywhere. Without your help, I really don't know where I am. The tone of your speech is really annoying, but because of the existence of the master servant contract, I can't do any harm to you. Sakun, in fact, you don't have to care about the master servant contract. Under normal circumstances, I won't use it to restrain you. On the contrary, I will give you corresponding respect. Yunfan said seriously. Boy, do you think I need your respect? As a god who has become a servant of an ordinary mortal, do you think I still have the so-called dignity of a god? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.